technical difficulties here.
The idea of having superior leadership skills, uh, do you think that if you have them and you know it, do you think it's something that goes without saying and you just assume the role and they're in charge? They want everyone to know it.
Yeah, I think there's circumstantial leadership that's maybe misplaced, but the power is still there, and the position, the leverage, and control. And then there's people that other people want to listen to, um, because of their results. They see results, whether they know how those results were achieved. There's some, or it's instinctive, whatever it may be. They see something about that person, so the person just naturally ends up in a leadership role. I don't think many people seek to be, or think, I want to lead all these people to accomplish this task. I think it more or less gets put onto people, rather than something that people seek. It ends up being, and kind of like Tiberius. Not saying he was a great leader as in good, but he was a great leader as in huge. He didn't want to be a leader.
Right. Right.
Yeah, he was very reluctant. Things went haywire, but
Okay. So, but with that in mind, exactly what you're talking about, would you say that natural leaders, they take charge of the situation no matter what it is?
I think that
Like if
natural
there's a
leader has a bit more of a challenge, at not saying something, at not taking control, at not, if they see something's off or see something's wrong, or it's not set right, they're less likely to keep their mouth shut about it, regardless of rank or position. um, maybe even respect, or whatever. It's the professor or the foreman makes a mistake or leaves something, unnoticed, or is doing something maybe even shady. uh, the a natural leader is just more apt to. It's going to be harder for them to keep their mouth shut. It's going to be harder for them to see something wrong that they know should be right, and let it slide.
Yeah. If you're a leader, would you say that whether you like it or not, your skills, your leadership skills are going to be improving every day?
Yeah, I believe that every experience, whether a person's aware of it or not, they're either getting better or worse at something, or they're just in a stagnant position. Anybody who's looking to improve something, a person whose mind's set on progression, they're going to be more goal oriented. They're going to be more likely to keep looking ahead when times get hard. The old saying, get knocked down, get right back up, kind of thing. It's not about how many, punches you can throw or how hard you can hit, but, how many you can take and keep going. I think that's the path of self improvement, and it's goal oriented. Goal oriented is the path of self improvement. You've got short term, midterm, long term, and that's what can keep you going on a project. Is, no, I have to reach there. It doesn't matter how much it hurts. I have to make it there. It doesn't matter how hungry I am. I have to make it there. I need to get this to be able to get that. And if I can get to this short-term goal or this medium-term goal, and you have multiple, and they're all chained and pointed in the same direction, so you can take little nibbles on your giant life goals as you
Mhm.
move along.
Do you, as a leader, with that in mind, getting everything kind of ironed out, getting your bases covered, and making sure that everything's kind of mapped out and ready to go.
Be
Even when
comfortable
you,
with it getting wrinkled again.
yeah. Not only that, it's just that with all that in mind, do you still seek out new leadership opportunities?
Um, I in a lot of ways my style is more passive, but once I'm plugged into whatever operation it is, depending on how many things I have going on, the time that I will give to that operation is 100% effort. I will put it all, yeah, just put it all in. But I don't seek out per se opportunities to um, influence or impact other people's operations, because if I'm not sought out with where my skills lie, then it may seem intrusive, and I don't want to put my effort or energy into something that is less than my own desires, or does not or cannot chain into my own personal goals, because that's synergy. This is how you're motivated about that aspect. I'm motivated about this aspect. My skills are over here, your skills are over there. You want to reach this, I want to reach that. We can help each other with our skills. If we put them together, we'll get closer to our goals by achieving our short term, medium, and maybe even parts of long term goals. We'll start to see the light begin to show. And this is about, and for people coming from the bottom to the top. This is not about people that were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and they've been taken care of for their success. Success is a personal matter. It is always a personal matter, because in the end, regardless if you're working on a project or you're working solo, it's how you feel about it in the end that determines your success. If you think it was a success what you did, the project doesn't have to make $100 million. It just has to work, and then you move on. If it doesn't, you do it, it runs its course. Whether it was the best, which it shouldn't be, because if you think it's the best, you'll never improve. But if it's as good as you could do with what you had, and it functions the way that you had intended, that's a success. Move on. Next step, next goal.
Do you do you still enjoy learning new things to become a better leader?
Constantly,
Yeah.
constantly, constantly.
Yeah.
Um, old
Talk about
books,
that.
old
Yeah.
books, audio tapes, books of great generals, philosophers, modern day politics and events, psychology, so just social interactions, human interactions, political philosophy. Um, yeah, lots of psychology. Compassion. Compassion's a big one, because knowing a time when you didn't know how to understand what humans are going through. This can help give people a space to grow. Um, you know, uh, so that's mindfulness. Being able to appreciate life helps leadership skills. Sometimes if we get laser focused on I have to, and you can't think about your goals passively while actively looking at something I like to do. Like to look at trees, and I like to pay attention to how the light is hitting the leaves and see the different shades of green, and the glow, or if it's fall, the yellows, reds, oranges, stuff like that. Mindfulness can keep you calm in high pressure high impact situations. So studying these kinds of techniques, not just from a business standpoint, but from all standpoints, theological, philosophical, political, ancient, modern, martial arts, athletics, people that require great focus, race car drivers and professional motorcycle racers, artists and painters. Bob Ross was a great example. How many times did he get pissed off making a mistake on a tree before he realized that it's a happy mistake and he's a master? He knows how to fix this. It's not even fixing it, it just makes it look different. Oh, wow, it's natural now. Wow, it's perfection. He couldn't lose. He couldn't lose. He couldn't make a mistake because he continued to improve to the point of mastery. Mastery comes when you have reached your own personal physical maximum, whether it's by genetics, interest, time, finance, goals, drive, whatever it can be, and you're satisfied with that. You know how to make it perfect. And damn near every time you will. When you
Okay.
put, yep, you know.
When you reach that point, though, do you still feel like you're developing leadership skills constantly?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Taking a
So
passive role, learning to
yeah.
take a passive role, that's really when leadership becomes more solidified. Not when you're jumping around on the bow of the boat with your sword pointed forward, conquering the waves, and everybody's behind you, terrified. But when you can calmly sit in a position to where this is my physical role in this unit. I am not trying to take over this unit. I am providing everything that I have for this unit's success by agreement. And
Okay.
yeah,
Do you feel like on that note, after you've been doing it for a while, do you feel like you're often called on to take charge of a situation?
indirectly, indirectly,
Either
um,
way, though, do you feel like you're getting approached to take on to take charge of what's going on? Because knowing consciously that you're doing leadership, whether you're in, like I said, in the position or not, because when people trust your opinions and expertise, and you're there communicating clearly what you expect of people, and you're often called on to take the lead because of that. I mean, would you say that not so much just called to be taken the lead with the position, but do you feel that there are situations where people just want you to take charge of it?
quite frankly, pretty much all the time. Um,
Yeah.
and it gets exhausting. It
Yeah.
it gets exhausting, but I also it's my own responsibility to know how much I'm taking on and where I'm dividing my time and making sure that I'm doing my best to keep with my commitments. But yeah, there are people once they get an idea of what they think I can provide to the table, they're usually, take all the reins off, let him do whatever he wants, listen to whatever he says. It doesn't mean he's God and whatever he says goes. It just means what he has to say is worth listening to. And I've been in multiple organizations where that was the case, and sometimes it ends up like Confucius because you're brought in by a king. You're welcome to a head of an organization and into their organization to be an advisor of a sort. And in the beginning, it's small things. It's kind of like just cruising around the place and seeing what it's like, and meeting people, shaking hands, politicking, and then it's kind of like sweeping the floors, and you're just seeing what's kind of messed up, maybe breaking efficiency down, or maybe after that you look at, well, this could make, you look at morale, what can raise morale if you find Find something, because morale is motivation for the people that need it. People that are success driven and self disciplined don't need motivation. They just need a direction, and they need organization. A
Okay,
organization.
on that note, real quick, let's talk about the part where, because we both know you have experience with this. Let's talk about the part with engaging others in the teamwork in order to optimize your results.
Well, it depends on the level of responsibility that's granted. What level of trust is there? What are the ground rules, the basis, the what are they called? What are those damn things called? The people are all boundaries. What are the boundaries, and what is the goal? And each one is mission, equipment, time, terrain, subjugated to change, at anything. It can change. One sentence spoken from somebody can change an entire operation, and then one sentence spoken publicly can change an entire, fate of an organization or a direction. So treating it very fragilely in the beginning, and then being able to relate in some sort of way to the people in the organization, what the organization represents, which you should already if you're going to be a part of anything, let alone lead it. You should be able to relate, understand, be a part of it. Um, if Tommy Hilfiger is not wearing Tommy Hilfiger, then maybe somebody else's name should be on it. Things like that. You design for yourself. But
Um,
after that, honesty is key, and honesty is courage. Honesty is a reflection of courage in a civilian world.
do you think it becomes easier each day to speak up and take the lead?
It becomes riskier. It becomes riskier with each new group that you're in. And in parting, everybody should always part better off than how you know it's a success. It doesn't have to last forever. It doesn't have to make 1 million or 100 million. It just has to part in both ways, where both parties are better off than they were before. If they are better off because they had met one another, if they have more wisdom, enlightenment, truth, direction, tools, knowledge, keys to success, then there it is. You can part ways. You don't even have to part ways happily. Just part ways. That's key, but it doesn't get easier, because each time it's a new group. So it's starting over with them, and in the beginning, I used to basically just be like, here I am, motherfuckers, let's go. And if you don't like it, then just let me know, and we'll part ways. But here's what I got to offer, and I'm coming in like Santa with a whole bag of goodies, and planning for more. And I'm thinking short term, midterm, long term, and what I can bring to the table. I'm not thinking about what they can bring to the table beyond I have already agreed, because I see what they can do. But I'm not looking at what they can do for me now with their skills. I'm looking at what we can do together by putting our skills together in one pot. Now we're gonna mix this up. Freaking every ingredient tastes good in a gumbo by itself, kinda, sorta, maybe. But you put it in a gumbo, bam! Now you got you know some food. You got a corporation here.
Let's talk about eagerly accepting new challenges.
I love new challenges. I love new challenges that I like, but new surprises that suck always suck. But they're opportunities to refine self discipline, and self discipline is virtue. Virtue is light, is magnetism, is energy, is your vitality, I believe, on a spiritual plane. Um, it's telomeres, vitality on a physical, but on a spiritual plane, I believe it's your virtue. And if you can be trustworthy, then being a leader or being in a leadership position as a trustworthy leader, that brings relief to the unit, to the team. So when the unit doesn't have to worry about the leader or stress about the leader, they have space to worry about other things. You open up more of your unit's brain by taking away stress from the job or whatever it may be. You are now expanding the opportunities and the mental capacity of your unit by providing your team to be able to not have to worry about you.
Okay. On that note, talk to me about embracing responsibility.
Yeah, at commitment, at commitment. That is, if you have made the agreement, prepare to suffer for it. So don't put in anything you're not willing to lose. Don't agree to more than you can handle. Know yourself, be honest, be honest with the team and what you think the team can handle. Otherwise, it's a fantasy, and a fantasy is a lie when we're dealing with real life. So if you're seeing that, if you're seeing something's coming up that could be a disruption, need to bring it up as peacefully as possible. If you're seeing a disruption, you're seeing stormy weather heading towards that midterm goal, you're seeing where it's coming from. You have to make that known. It's kind of like if you're on a boat and there's a rogue wave and you don't let the captain know there's a rogue wave, could knock over the whole boat, could knock over the whole damn boat. So these sort of things, that fundamental, fundamental. But honesty is one of the biggest keys with foresight. Being able to see what's going on and having the courage to talk about it. It doesn't get easier, but it gets more passive. Early in leadership, people are leaders before they know they're leaders. Leaders are leaders before they're leaders. Before they know they're leaders. Leaders are leaders before they're put in leadership positions. That's why they're put in leadership positions. So what gets easier is the acceptance of, okay, people are going to accept me to know how to do my shit, know what I'm talking about, be able to figure out their problems, not only my own, be able to figure out their problems, be able to have a conversation with me that can change the course of their life. And it can if they listen. These kind of things become natural, natural because people put you in that position. You don't put yourself in that position. People put you in that position.
Okay, because of that, talk to me about reputation.
Oh man, reputation is wonderful. You really don't realize how powerful a reputation is when you're young. Because kids, they don't know shit. They're making all kinds of mistakes, and early 20s, you're making all kinds of mistakes. You're trying to figure everything out. If you were in your 20s and you were not making more mistakes than successes, then you're setting too easy of goals. You're really not trying hard enough. Um, I can't now. I kind of got a little sidetracked. What was that the question again?
Reputation, just talking to me about
Yeah, yeah,
so
reputation.
how it develops. It continues to develop since you're going to continue being a leader anyways. So it's the
You shouldn't
idea.
worry about your reputation until you're probably 37, 37, heading to 40s, unless you're already in a corporate. position high up with big responsibilities, or a military officer, or you're setting your own business, you really should be more focused on making um, mistakes by harnessing and honing in on your skill that you will later be a great success from your long-term goal, your midterm goal. It should be about not being good at something. So my early martial arts career, I think what had sustained and blasted me so far forward in my own physical accomplishments and inside of my own circles was the whole thing about I need to just keep going. I need to just keep getting better. I need to practice harder than everybody else. I need to wake up earlier, start training in the morning. I need to be able to go to the dojo with the technique that was given 2 days before, and have it not only mastered but different variations of it, and ways to pull it out naturally. Um, stuff like that, stuff like that. But the reputation gets built from the mistakes being sanded down, being smoothed over, being refined. And then that level of consistency of fucking up, trying to get better, ends up becoming mastery. Now we know he's good at this because we watched him go from not being good at this to being okay to being good to now he's fucking teaching other people. So that's where the
Mm-hmm.
reputation comes from, is through the refinement of that skill and having witnesses to it, and then the consistency because it becomes who you are.
Okay. So on that note, then, do you think it's important with this, with your overall development of style? Do you think it's important to be firm and yet fair?
Yeah, yeah, firm, fair. Firm is standing true to honesty, is standing true to the truth. Fair is justice, what's right, and what's right is right. What's right is righteous. So, fair, yes, this is your share, and this is the results, and here we go. Here's the pie. Here's how we divide it. And firm. Yeah, this is the truth. This is the truth. Here's what it looks like. So we're going to stand on the truth so we can be fair.
Let's talk about the part where you start noticing that others are starting to listen to and respect you.
It feels good. It usually comes with a validation from somebody else that they already listen to and respect, which can go one of two ways. It can lead to jealousy, or it will lead to jealousy. Um, and it can also lead to, now you're being admired, and people are coming to you. But it comes through usually an accolade of some sort, a piece of paper, a validation ticket or token, a golden ticket, if you will, through a reputable source. And then that's when. So it's like you could have been like when I was a white belt before I got my brown belt. I was just as good per se. Nah, no, the test changes everything. But I digress. Once I had that color change on my belt, well, now people stopped calling me white belt, started calling me brown belt. Years and
Mm-hmm.
years of progression, black belt. Now people are calling me sensei. Now, over the years of the time and dedication to the art specifically, inside of that social circle, inside of that group, and where that group branches and spider webs to other schools and so on, and then the other schools that I had went to and trained under, um, that reputation becomes who you are, becomes the reputation by those who witnessed it, those who saw what you were doing. And then there's no hiding it after that. But then you have to show them. It's no longer based off of the golden ticket. They have to see how you move, and then you're now judged on a different bracket. You no longer care about the uneducated eye. You only care about what the best think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that note, talk to me about being highly organized and efficient.
Everybody has different organizational skills. Um, some
But when you're talking, you're being a leader, and because you're going to have to be organized and efficient, and then you're going to keep getting better at it anyways because you're doing leadership roles.
trust,
So it,
compartmentalization, personal compartmentalization, and then
Mhm.
team organization, compartmentalization, and trust. So you get everybody together, you let them know their role. You understand your role, your position. This is your job. Yes, I understand. You, and you. Yes, 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 and yes. You understand my job, my role and position? Yes, 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 and yes. Okay, now let's do a mock up. Let's see. Let's practice it. Okay, now let's send it live. Let's do a real life, thing. When talking behind the scenes, that's a big part of the allowing the jumble, the mess to form. Like jambalaya is not ice in ice cube trays. It's in a pot. So you allow that jumbling to take place, and then in that it will form. It will separate. Once everybody understands we're in this together, we're a symbiotic organism. Okay, here's your part. The finger no longer thinks it can become the toe. It knows that it needs to do the job of the finger. And there you go. There's your organization. When it comes to personal organization, prioritize. Have your short-term goals in front of your face, your midterm goals behind that, your long-term goals in the back of the mind. Not even looking at the long-term goals. They're just in the back of the mind because the long-term goals should be natural. It's what you truly want. That should always be your long-term goal.
Okay. Talk to me about handling difficult situations with ease.
Experience, experience and shock, experience training, shock, recognizing that you will be surprised, and you will crash, you will crash out, you will make mistakes, you will be overwhelmed, maybe overtaken, overcome. Um, you will lose small battles, and you'll get up and keep going, and then that will create a calmness. The calmness comes from the awareness of how bad it can really get, really. And after getting back up from how bad it can really get, then you're prepared for battle. It's kind of like a boxer, professional boxer. You put a guy who's never been in a fight in his life up against somebody who's been in 50 of them, and he knows the rules and he trains daily, and you put him up against each other. The first time the guy who's never been, he gets hit, he's never been hit before, it's going to change his life. It's going to change his life. It's not, he can handle it all kinds of different ways. It takes getting beat down, mind, body, maybe, spirit, emotions dragged through, light at the end of the tunnel. I can't see it. Maybe there's something. I just need to keep moving. Exhaustion. I just want to sleep here. I'm on the trail. I just want to sleep here. I can make it in the morning, and you don't. You just keep walking. That kind of stuff. That's what'll keep you calm. Training for the moment. The more suffering you can endure, that you induce on yourself. So things like working out, things like running. Not saying it's the most healthy activity, but it can put your brain in a state of self discipline where people end up feeling euphoric. It's like the pride of punishing themselves The pride of punishing yourself as a human comes with reward. And we only view it as punishing because today's civilization standards have leisure at the top priority and or fantasy. Nobody thinks I want to go in is daydreaming about going into the coal mines to go and get the coal, or into the gold mines to go and you know get the gold. And now they're thinking about, oh, we're going to get these guys together and we're going to start making jewelry and we'll be rich. No, everybody's saying, oh, if I had that yacht, if I had that fancy car, if I had that big house, my life would be better because I would have what? That leisure item, that comfortable seat on the boat or the car or inside of the house. They're they're missing the point. Is the drive to get there is kind of the fun part. Not the fun part, the exciting part.
Hmm.
Those other things, those items are byproducts.
So you would say that you enjoy being a leader no matter how many beatings you take.
Yeah, I can't change. I can't change. I can't conform into being anything but this. And if people continue to just come to me, I'm not going to get any dumber. I'm not going to get dumb all of a sudden. I'm not going to lose logic. Um,
Well, constant improvement is pretty much a way of life for a leader. Constant improvement.
so at this point, it's just I'm not calling it quits. I'm not all of a sudden gonna start taking a submissive role or a secondary role, but I don't mind being a wingman either.
Still, either way, on that note, constant improvement is definitely a way of life for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. In all different categories. And it's not this constant, I gotta do this, ah, you know, but the categories change. Like, I'm in great shape, all considering, especially, and I'm not killing myself over my physique. I used to. I absolutely used to. Used to kill myself over my physique. Um, I was upholding what I felt was the best possible standard for my profession by oath for life that I could. It was a sacrifice, beating the shit out of myself all day, every day. Um, I don't do that anymore. Now, I instead of music, which I'll listen to, and I know a lot about it. I'll listen to history audiobooks, different professors giving lectures, study ancient world, Greek, and all this stuff. I try to fill my head with great minds, great thinkers, different views, different perspectives, but also not developing a codependency on them, allowing them to enhance my own thoughts. So
Okay.
yeah, just being there is no changing it. And I appreciate who I am as a person, and not that I designed me, but that here I am experiencing this life. And my favorite feature, I think everybody should have, should, for one, appreciate themselves. But two, what's your favorite feature about yourself? For me, it's my brain. I love the gift that I have been given with my own brain because I can entertain myself in thought. All I have to do is think and I can be entertained. Well, that's probably because I have studied some of the best writers on planet Earth, which filled my head with all these wonderful words to express my experience, even to myself. So, it's not going away. Um, being a leader can't, if that's the word, which it is. Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't fade. It becomes you. You become it, not by position, but by nature, at least the best.
Let's talk about taking on new people.
Yeah, it's always a, my goodness, they don't know what they don't know until they know they don't know.
Right.
Introducing myself has went from a sense of, okay, I got to let these people know who I am and what they've signed on to, and try to give them a bucket out of this ocean. That's not the way to do it. Um, way to do it is passively, and just let them slowly. It may feel slow, but it's actually going to move pretty fast. Slowly develop their concept of your character without you
Okay.
giving it to them.
Let's talk about the part where you enjoy starting conversations on that note.
Um, yeah, I don't
We're,
usually
we're
go
talking.
and say something first, but if I hear something, I will, if I feel it's appropriate or necessary, um, I'll say something. I'll give my 2 cents, if you will, into it, and that'll be that.
Well, you enjoyed Dale Carnegie, right?
Yeah, I remember him.
Okay, that's just one of the deals out of that whole thing that he was talking about. The part of winning friends and influencing people,
Influencing others, yeah.
and he says that actually enjoying starting conversations.
Yeah, I almost
Yeah.
started a conversation um day before yesterday. And it's strange because it kind of bothers me that I didn't. And it's like I've allowed myself to be a little private, all considering all circumstances. But at the same time, here I am public speaking and involved in multiple organizations and ahead of another, and blah 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 blah. So it's little yeah, it's not that bad. I chose not to.
Let's talk about I'd say this might sound negative at first, but when we think positive action and right doing, let's talk about the part with being good at persuading people.
Yeah,
Well, you got to do it. Win friends and influence people. That means you have to be good at persuading people. And when you're persuading people, it doesn't mean you're doing something negative. It can be positive action and right doing. So
that's
that's what I'm
facts.
saying. So
So
let me
so when
ask.
it comes to that, the easiest way to do that is a win-win situation. And the easiest way to get to a win-win situation is to understand, for one, first and foremost, people, all their wants and needs, and then two, the specific person and what they're looking for from you. From you.
Would you say that that thermostat that they talk about with the hot and cold are things to consider when you're applying these things?
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
same thing I'm saying. What do they want from you?
Right.
Can you provide it for them? And if not, can you get close to it? Can you get
Mhm.
anywhere near it and give whatever you can, short, medium, or long term? Can you take them all the way? Can you take them halfway? Can you at least give them a tip on how to get there? That's
Well,
all you can do. Know what they want, what they're looking for, and where you fit into that puzzle.
okay. So talk to me about leading conversations and directing them where you want them to go.
Let's see. Leading
Literally
conversations and directing them
where
where
you want
you
where
want
you
them
want.
to go. Well, you talk about the truth. If you know what you're talking about, then there it is. If the person wants to talk to you about what you have to offer, then know what you are talking about by knowing and know what they want out of that product. Then, uh, product meaning result.
Mhm.
So where do you fit in? And then how can you communicate to that person that you have what they want?
Okay. Let's talk about the part where saying no is easy.
Saying no is absolutely easy. It's again standing confident, having courage with honesty. And that confidence is in yourself. That courage is to be honest, to say no. And this is a very American thing to do. Some cultures, like Japan, saying no is almost an insult, if not is an insult, given whatever circumstance. And there are ways to navigate around saying no to be quote unquote polite. Um, it's very, very Western thinking. Yeah, I don't like it. No, no, I want my refund. I ain't paying for this shit. You know, um, it is important, especially in leadership. It's most important because it's not just you; it's anybody else involved. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
feeling that this isn't a good idea, if it's not good for you, it's not good for everybody else. So you should stand confident in no for the sake of the best deal. What's the
Talk
best
to me
outcome?
about Okay. Talk to me about voice projection and speaking confidently and how you project your voice.
So, for one, honesty. So, if you don't have anything to hide, you can just let your subconscious roll. You can just invoke the muse, as probably some Greeks would say. Um, the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues, are inspired. It is because there's nothing in your brain resisting your thoughts. So, after you do this, the only reason a person shouldn't be confident in what they're saying is because either they're full of shit. That's it. That's all. They either know or they don't know. So confidence then, when it comes to the physical aspects of speaking, proper breathing, breathe in through, if you need to think about it, breathe in through the pit of your stomach on an inhale, starting there. Do a couple of those, let that natural, shoulders down and relaxed, spine straight, back of the head up, so all the wind can flow naturally. And you speak confidently because you know what you're talking about, you're telling the truth. And that will come naturally because nothing is being held back. There's nothing in the brain to second guess. You know it's the truth.
Okay. So talk about the part with having unbreakable confidence within yourself.
Once you know the truth and you stick with the truth, you're aligned with the truth. What can shake you? What
Mm-hmm.
can shake you? Nothing can shake you. A man that knows the truth and aligns his life with the truth has no resistance in his brain to tell him otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean you're always right. It means you're able to correct, you're able to stand humble without being humiliated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In line with the truth. You're confident in what you have to say.
Okay.
It's educated and informed.
Okay. Do you find yourself in points where when you're extremely focused on achieving success, do you ever put yourself in a state where you're free of any negative thinking and you only think positively?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And this can last for a while. It can last for a while. Natural euphoria. Something I've told my son is the best feeling on planet Earth is accomplishment, and the second best feeling on Earth is the drive to get there.
Okay, so on that note, do you love being a hard worker?
Yeah, I work hard at everything that I dedicate myself to.
So, on that note, would you say that you have an intense desire to get all you can from life?
Absolutely.
And you think
Absolutely.
and you think that that's a quality that all the leaders out there should have?
Absolutely. And I think that all quality leaders possess that. Possess that.
Okay.
And generosity comes with that, because who would want to have all the great riches and not share them with anyone and miss
Right.
out on that good sensation? Um, yeah, yeah. I even gave my son a parable when he was a child about it that I made up, but about the origin of generosity and the backside of it. Greed leads to drunkardness. Really does. Really does. Rotting apples, rotting fruit.
So you really can do it then, and you have been doing it here and there. You find it easy to think only positive thoughts.
Yeah. But I've also
Okay.
been overcome with negative thoughts at times too, but purely circumstantial. Um,
Yeah.
I can't make something bad truly good, but what I can do is my best to not be emotionally subjugated to it, which this comes with, again, being torn apart, having to scrabble to survive level of refinement, because it comes down to being able to manage being attacked ruthlessly, being attacked by your closest people, the people closest to you, being attacked by people you never thought would attack you, um, and then still be able to walk unfazed, at least on the exterior. You will sculpt into a new man. You'll sculpt into a new being, and that being will be what Nietzsche referred to as the a Uberman. And in a sense, it will appear sociopathic, potentially
Do you
psychopathic, narcissistic, um, manic, um, but it won't appear bipolar. It won't appear, yeah. It
um, do you enjoy being in the middle of the process, right? Where you're going after the things that you truly want,
yeah, I do. I do. When I
the process
can,
of earning it.
if I can put my feet to pedals, you bet.
Yeah.
What drives people nuts is the stagnant phase, the waiting phase, and the do not move phase.
Do you think part of that is reminding yourself, at least when you're in that part of the game, do you think it's important to remind yourself that you're destined for great things?
Absolutely. And
People
a
lose sight
person.
of that. That's why I ask. People lose sight. They get overwhelmed with depression. They don't push through failure, and some people don't realize that they're destined for great things still. So that's why I ask.
And great things as a matter of the mind, because we know not all people will be a philosopher or a doctor, or and most doctors are hardly doctors nowadays, and so on and so on and so on. They won't make it into a history book where they're found by anybody ever. um but they can have great things in their mind, and what's referred to as the heart, the spirit, emotionally. They can experience great emotion, just as great as the great leaders um, that have ever lived. They can share um, great sorrows and great joys and great laughter, great humor, and great anger and great loss, and appreciation for great gain. What is a loaf of bread to, say, Alexander versus a conquered city is tremendously different, right?
Mm.
So accepting what we can appreciate. I'll go back to, I enjoy watching how the sun hits trees, the
Hmm.
leaves. I that is a thing that I will go to be mindful, um, to be able to appreciate the grass or my shelter, the dogs that I have. They're well behaved. To find the good that you have, whether you're again Alexander or your Oliver, finding the good in what you have, having the courage to go for more, and you should, because if you have it in you, do it.
Okay, so on that note, are you finding yourself more sure of yourself by the day?
In the strengths that I have, I am more in tune. So there was a time where me physically stronger, more flexible, faster, more endurance, I would not want to stand in a cage with that guy right now at all. It would be terrifying. He would probably maul me. There would be little I would be able to do. I may know more things, but I recognize the strengths, but I'm not trying to get myself into a cage fight. And at my physique and knowledge and ability, I am good to contend with 90% of planet Earth in hand to hand, maybe more. Um, but that level, that's for them. On a more intellectual level, he was pretty smart. I bring him over to what I know now, he would be worshiping what I have done for him and what I've given him. So, and I would never worship who he is and still think I could probably take him, but I'm going to be in big danger if I don't. Respect for self and respect for life's progressions and the levels. Spiritually, I am more sound, meaning my emotions are more grounded. Self-awareness, I am more self-aware than he is. Um, at peace, I have it. He doesn't. He didn't. He had fire. I have water. I have mist. I have yin yang balance. He had ups and downs. I have content through life's ups and downs.
As time goes on, are you finding it easier to have confidence in yourself?
Mm. I've had confidence in myself probably my whole life.
Yeah,
I've
but
went
more
through
as time goes
phases of
on
being
now.
crushed.
Yeah, but as time goes on now, not back then, as right now goes, and as each day kind of keeps going by, like at this, at this point, do you think it's easier for you to have confidence as each day? Do you think it gets easier, your confidence?
I mean, I don't. I think I think there's a platform, and it's called the man, and many are the man, and I find myself on that platform. So after that, after you're number one, there is no matter with confidence. There is no matter. It's the gauge has been broken. The thermometer has exploded. Um,
But you should be able to still become more sure of yourself with each passing day.
I'm as sure of myself with what I'm willing to express in any of the knowledges that I have, and those knowledges will continue to gain. So in speaking will be further understanding and more refined speech that's more universal to be understood by more people. Um, but with what I have, it'll always be me. I'm solidified in my level of confidence. When it comes to confidence, there's no strive for or against more or less, because I have and became what I set myself out to be.
But the deal is, though, don't you notice your confidence increasing?
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know. I remember a time where I did. I remember a
Okay.
time where I did. Um, but that confidence increase comes with a certain level of lack of self assurance and or
Mm.
reassurance, and I have all the self assurance and reassurance that I need, I think, for my entire life, and I just keep moving. It doesn't mean the train stopped. It just means that, it knows it's a train. It's coming down the tracks. So,
Okay.
there the thermometer's broke. It's like going through again, darkness in the tunnel, and the light is at the end of the tunnel. I have been in the darkness, and there has been light and there has been no light. It has been so dark, there has been no light. Um and then the tunnel disappeared, and it was just darkness, and it was me and my subconscious, and we embraced as darkness in one, and I came out, and it was kind of like a daydream. It was a daydream, if you will. But there were some of these gods, and we laughed and gave each other hugs, and then I was open my eyes, and then here I am. I'm in the world, and okay, here we go. And since that day, um, there are things that are terrible that have happened. There are things that are terrible that will happen. But I can go not unmoved, but unshaken.
Um, would you say that you, at this point, can express your opinions easily?
Yeah, 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 absolutely, 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 absolutely. Some topics just take longer to discuss, and you have to be careful about people trying to lead you into a metaphysical dark alley, if you will, and surround you and not give you the time to be able to express whatever idea or view you may have on a matter. Yeah, it's about as easy as it gets.
Let's talk about communication skills improving, whether it's a career or whatever kind of business you're handling. Um, let's
No
talk
more than you
about,
need to.
well, at the same time, though, wouldn't you say that the strong communication skills help you through whatever, the challenges?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Appreciation for the person that you're communicating with,
Hmm.
really, because what are you talking for?
Well, there's a lot of people where their communication skills aren't impressing other people. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying compare you to other people, but it's the idea that if other people are trying to get something out of what this is, if they listen to us, there's some people that aren't going to be as skilled with communicating. And there's a lot of people that their communication skills are so weak that people don't listen to what they say,
So
even
okay,
if it is.
I think I get you. So let's get a little presidential. Let's go to pretty much everybody's favorite American president, John F. Kennedy. It's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And
Uh huh.
right there, if we think about this and then we add on short, medium, and long term goals, we think about that as a question as a citizen ourselves. So we want to progress. We need to ask. And a big part of psychology with this and communication is we need permission. So if anybody feels they need permission with something that's on their emotional weight that they would like permission for that is legal, um, you have my permission.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, do what you got to ask what you can do, and then what's
Okay.
silent is the progression. So if somebody is trying to progress, which they're goal oriented, they have to go to an authority of what they're seeking, because
Okay.
that's why they go to the gatekeeper, right? And they ask
Mm-hmm.
them, what can I do for this place? And they will say, very good, do this, do it to the best of your ability, and study behind the scenes the position that you would like to be,
Okay.
and start
On that.
asking permission to do
Mhm.
low level things that chain or branch to that ultimate long term goal.
Okay. On that note, talk to me about communication skills getting you out of difficult situations.
Diplomacy first is something I've always taught my martial arts students. Diplomacy first. Winning the crowd over is just as important as keeping yourself protected, because the crowd, if they misunderstand the situation in a self defense scenario, then they may turn on you, they may attack you, they may call police and report something that they did not see or something they think happened. So,
Mm-hmm.
being calm, handling the situation diplomatically first and foremost, and then afterwards diplomatically. So, and through maintaining the calm. So,
Mm-hmm.
you have to gain control of the situation so everybody around sees that you are indeed not the one out of control. So that means you don't bite off more than you need to. You don't be a glutton. You hold it smoothly, and then after, diplomatically show the crowd that you are still in control of this situation, and then let them be the judge of the combative person, scenario, whatever it's going. If you don't, and you just let all hell break loose and behave primitively, then you lose. Um, and it's easy to be provoked into it. It's easy to be provoked into it, but maintaining the calm, being diplomatic, start small, start
Mm-hmm.
small, and work big with conversations in introduction. Start small, then
Mm-hmm.
go to medium, then go to long term.
Okay.
Same thing with introduction. Start small. So when conversation, like to start a conversation, sometimes if I'm in the mood, normally I could be a really good conversationalist. Sometimes I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm exhausted. But what that takes is starting small, and then again is seeing a welcoming point, a door open, a eye contact within uh 3 feet, 4 feet of each other. um these things are openers to conversation. Taking
Mm-hmm.
advantage of this by short, medium, long. Short: hi, how are you? I was wondering if. So if you were going to start the conversation, you were going to request by providing a potential need from that other person. And if it's something casual, like just meeting, I
Mm-hmm.
was wondering if you would like to exchange phone numbers, if you would like to get some lunch or whatever, you keep it your name. My name is, what is yours? Okay. So then you've provided a space for a need to be filled that is a small term, casual, consensual, safe, and universal introduction introduction method. And then afterwards, slowly link chains together with honest communication towards medium and potentially long-term goals. And yeah, when you're honest, it's easy. It's easy. Dealing with the
Okay.
enemy, stay calm. Sucks.
Uh, on that note, though, uh, tell me about on that note too, right? Tell me about the part where the more positive you are, the easier it becomes to start the conversations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if all you have on your mind is negativity and we program ourselves into negativity, positivity is a choice. Then we have nothing really to talk to a person about, and we'll only bring them down, and they'll be very aware of this. So after a first, hey, how are you? Man, it really sucks in here. Okay, that person already knows that what you're going to bring into their life is negativity. So that means they're going to have to offer you consolement, oh yeah, or validation, I agree, or I'm so sorry, and that's going to become the synapse of the relationship, whether the person realizes that becomes their neurological pathway pertaining to that person in their individual Rolodex already, and most likely are already going to be cached into short term memory. I do not remember ever seeing this person in my life because of
Mhm.
because of negativity. So we should always do our best to think positive. And it can be very, very, very difficult sometimes. But you are not crazy if it's difficult because of circumstances. You're crazy if everything is the way that you set your life and you're still upset. Making mistakes, having people mess with your peace, all these things are something that got to strive to get through to get to. But it's pretty much inevitable. You're
Let's
either
talk
gonna
about
get
the
there, or
part.
it's gonna break you.
Cool. Let's talk about the part where you excel in your career because of your strong communication skills.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With pretty much anything that is um, beyond just labor. Um, After a person learns their skill, this is why study more than you need to know relating to your job or your position or your field, whatever it may be. And that way, when you're talking to people that are in higher positions than you can actually have an intelligible conversation. Don't overspeak them, don't win a race too far, but just let them know that you exist through shared knowledge that maybe wasn't expected out of you. So when the time comes, and over time, slowly linking these conversations with these people, with these chains towards your medium and long term goals, casually, slowly, this is how communication breeds success.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about compromising with others. A lot of people don't have the ability to compromise. And so that would be what I would want to ask you about next is the part with compromising and pretty much being able to communicate effectively while being free from arguing.
Yeah, yeah.
Hard to do because not
That
no perfect fit. Hard to
that
do. Yeah.
that comes with either certain controlled environments, i.e., court. um, or just managing voice control. As humans today, it's not what we say. Basically, it's how we say it. And if you're an intimidating person and you're upset, and somebody wants to say they were intimidated by you, they can really throw a very expensive gear in your life's works.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crucial, crucial to try to
Yeah.
be, especially as a man today, and women especially though too, um, to be poised, be poised, use poise, be calm, um, be calm through it. It's very, 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 very difficult because sometimes it'll feel like the world is attacking you, metaphysically, emotionally, mentally. They're looking for something wrong with you. And some people are targeted more than others. So when they go out in society, basically normies, if you will, not trying to be rude, but if you will, they really are staring at you, trying to find an error. And if they see you for any length of time, that's all they're doing. They'll study you, and then they'll wait for where they feel is their opportune time, and then they're gonna emotionally, mentally, verbally attack you, but passive aggressively, designed intentionally to make you look like a dangerous person instead of a confident person.
Okay. So on that note, uh, you do find the ability to see things from other people's points of view as a useful skill.
From an empathetic standpoint, if somebody explains to me, or I see a situation that's sucks, terrible, someone's crying because they have a lost loved one, or they're in shock, or they're in emotional duress, or they're feeling good and happy about a new success. Yeah, I understand what what they're going through. I don't
Um,
find it something that needs to be taken advantage of or exploited. But this comes with a part of understanding human psychology and behaviors. All people, most people that snap, I believe, is because they didn't have anybody that understood them, didn't have anybody that they could talk to, that they felt related to some of the most difficult things that they were going through, and they work at Kinko's.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, understanding people, yeah, it can bring peace, and being able to be calm in high stress environments because you've been through, or a person has been through high stress scenarios where by nature will cause instinct to activate. Um, and we don't expect it from the 32-year-old woman that works at, again, Kinko's, but there it is. So for a person to be able to understand that this person is now brought to an instinctive and defensive level, that means potential violence. They don't have a history of it. They don't have a apt for it. They don't have knowledge to do it, but there they are, being threatening, right? And this happened to a little woman, worked at, I'm not sure if it was the was Kinko's. I don't think it was Kinko's, but it was a type store like that. And she got gunned down by police with riot shields and full armor, coming out with a kitchen knife while she was inside of her own apartment by herself. So understanding people, um, it's a necessity. There needs to be people in society that understand people from an outside perspective. That, yes, I see why they did this, how they were capable of doing this. and they shouldn't be, and they shouldn't be capable of doing this. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think you want to take a break for a second?
Either or.
Yeah, just real quick, because I have a few things I got to handle real quick around the house, maybe 15 minutes.
All right.
And if you're down, we'll get right back. I mean, maybe even less than that. I just got to handle a few things here because I got to get my water tanks changed out in the garage and shit. And it'll only take a minute, but
All right.
um,
All right.
I'll
Yeah.
get right back at you in just a second. But it sounds good what we've done so far. I'm stoked on it. We have Okay.
We are back on the air. All right, it was about what was that with empathy and helping with leadership skills?
How empathy it helps with the communication or the compromising with the communication skills.
Yeah. In every aspect, it helps personally. It helps medically. It helps strategically. It helps predictably. Understanding human behavior. It helps with predicting and preventing crimes. It helps with solving them.
Hmm.
It also helps with conducting them. It's very essential for human existence to be able to understand one another predictively. It's in our
Okay.
nature.
Um, we're talking about communicating. So, uh, the idea of the networking part, just overall business networking. Um, you yourself, can you always spot opportunities to network?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about spotting opportunities to network.
If I'm in a setting where are people that are interested in their abilities, assets, um, businesses, ideas being shared, if anybody's in the environment where this is going on, then by all means, um, all you have to do is listen and talk. And if you're new to the environment, listen first, and then when there's a place for you to say something intelligent, then speak. Otherwise, don't speak. Just smile and nod and be pleasant and learn.
Yeah. Um, when we think of the reality of business networking as a subject, do you believe that business working is the way to become well connected?
Absolutely.
Let's
Absolutely.
let's talk about it. Let's talk about using business networking to become well connected.
Who you know. And when it comes to working together, that means there's more time, potentially double. There's potentially more assets. There's potentially more resources. There's potentially more effort, potentially double, potentially triple, quadruple, potentially more than no human could ever do by themselves. And that's why leaders should always be grateful for the people around them and reward them well. It doesn't require enslaving employees to be a successful businessman. And I heard a man. He was yeah, he didn't think that so much. And since it was legal for him to, you know, not pay his employees well, even though he had more than the opportunity and more money than anybody could ever spend. And a lot of people hate this. They hate hearing somebody say this. They think, it's communism. Um, no, it's calling out greed for what it is. That's not pride in capitalism. That's choking out capitalism. That's starving out competitors, and that's choking out your own employees. That's not even cheersing with your own employees. In a small operation that makes hundreds of millions. It's bullshit. But I digress. See, that guy has a lack of empathy or ability to understand other people and use it to his advantage by making a legacy out of his corporation. The only thing that he can think of is the accumulation of money in his bank account for himself as a person.
Okay.
The king
Um,
mentality.
right. Um, I get what you're saying, and at the same time, though, I still kind of want to stay on the task of the business networking. Um, do you? Because you were going in this direction when you answered the last question, and that's why I wanted to bring up the key point of finding yourself more happier each day about the idea of networking.
Um, I love the
So,
idea of networking. Um, it comes with its strengths and weaknesses. Um, it comes with its strengths and weaknesses. It requires trust. It requires the other person to be able to satisfy that trust. Um, it requires multiple pieces of a machine. It requires other people to be confident and competent to do their part of the job or the mission. But do I think it is also the only way and is the testimony of all human achievement? Absolutely. And I do find it exciting. In fact, I have the more I study history, the more inspired I am when it comes to the powers and potential of networking and for good without greed. But if a virtuous person holds a mass or accumulates a mass amount of wealth, as in there is a circulation of income more than any person could ever need or desire for themselves. In fact, it would be unhealthy for them to do so. And they invested in the people that made that possible. That right there is proper networking and influence to be able to establish and then network first from the ground. Good leader goes, speaks to his people, listens to his people, finds their needs, satisfies them for the sake of the machine. Then the machine can operate well. When all the pieces are that need to be oiled are oiled, when every screw is set, so there's no screws loose in the operation, then you can or a person can then seek to take their organization and present it to a bigger fish. Be like, look at this. You want to consume this machine here and plug it into your system and see how we operate then to gain more resources, potential assets, time, and this is to save towards and build towards the bigger goal. But if you work towards with your ground and make sure that your ground, all the screws are tight, all the oil's where it needs to be, then you move as a unit.
do
That's
you believe? Okay, you have something to add?
well, it has to be done that way because otherwise it's presenting a broken machine or a test function machine to an already operational unit that's proven sound for success. So networking starts at the bottom. And I like the what I guess is kind of rumored is the sort of Bill Gates business model, going to a college and just getting kids to drop out to do programming for him. Um, this was you know a sign of networking at the bottom. You look at Paul Allen and I'm sure others that were a part of the early establishment and they networked together from the bottom first and took care of themselves as founders and then took care of everything. Apparently if you work at Microsoft, it's a pretty decent place to be. Allegedly, I haven't seen anything. It just last time I had looked, it looked pretty cushy. It could be a exterior of, oh, we have these lounges and all these nice places to get food and so on. But um, I digress. The communication, networking. You build your machine, you build your product, then you present it. Then you present it out there and just show that you're a fish. Don't try to be a hunter yet. Try to be prey. Try to get some attention. Um, See if you can be noticed by anything that's bigger than you with interest that would find benefit to having what you had built and what you're working with and the network that you had created for your functioning machine to operate in their grander scale, is networking, working together, and then knowing what you need from them, because
Mhm.
you may have something very impressive, they may be interested, but if you don't know what you can use them for, where that would be beneficial to you, then it's like having a gear that's not activated. It won't engage. It's just spinning. What are you going to do with it? And now you miss the deal, and you lose all the potential future with that possible investor or interest, because you didn't know what you wanted.
So
It's,
would you
yeah.
agree that right now you have told me why the more you enjoy networking, the more successful you'll be?
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, I know people that is their life is business networking, and
Yeah.
it is a
Like you say,
it's
sometimes
a
doing
rough road. It's a rough road. I'll say that.
this hungry horse thing that you and I are doing, and I'll even take this part out if you want me to. You got to figure part of this, even though we know what we're talking about, we're still using it to change each other's minds with positive action and right doing. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. I mean, the ability to
There's
self-correct and
the
step
influence
left,
there.
and
I'm just saying the influence that's there. You get what I'm saying? That's why I like to ask you the question, because you just pretty much got done describing why, but that's why I put you on the spot afterwards with, so you're telling me that the more you enjoy networking, the more successful you're going to be.
I think that if a person is good at networking, the more opportunities that will present themselves.
So you think it's always a good thing to improve your networking skills every day?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's always beneficial to have good networking skills. Always, always, always. Know people from around the globe. Um, be nice and keep friendships. Make interesting conversation and entertain and interesting conversationalists. Give them your attention, lend them your ear, and be remembered, be memorable, and then keep contact, and not on an intrusive level, but on a familiar level, a recognition and respect on whatever level of expectation it's set to be. If they expect you to be good at this, keep good at that. Keep good at that, because that's what they expect out of you for that skill. If you don't maintain being good at that, then what use are you to them?
Well, it sounds like you're able to make yourself happier each day about the idea of networking.
Happier is a sign of progression. I'm not I'm not progressing at doing something. What I'm doing is it itself, and I I do this. It's just I think that it would make somebody happier if they're not doing it. Absolutely. For somebody that this is new to, unfamiliar, absolutely practice networking every day. Start with your say we always start at the bottom here. So say we start at Wendy's. I'm just trying to spare McDonald's, right? McDonald's is always used. say we're working at a fast food chain and we do not want to be there. And some people, they are fine with fast food. They are happy working fast food. They are satisfied in their lives working fast food. That is their success, and that is a good thing. And thank God for America to be able to provide it for them. So we go further. The other person that's working, maybe they want to stay in the food industry, but maybe they want to stay with Wendy's. So new employee just been hired on. Uh, they're mopping now. They're mopping the floor, and they talk to an employee who is not the manager, who has been there for a little bit longer. Hey, what do you think of the place? How about the manager? Other employees, get to know their names. So now you know their names, learned something about the kitchen, let a couple of days pass, and give information to the manager about what you know about the position that you would like to move to, and know the average price, the average pay of that person in that position, and let them know that you can do it and would like to practice in in whatever time frame is available. If you could get some time working that job because you would like to in the future, in a medium future goal, work that position, because the long term is to get to potentially the manager position or even corporate or in education, which I believe there are certain fast food chains that do provide an education, or provide educational opportunities, which that's what it's for. You work at retail or food, and you get your education, and then you can move on. But you can use opportunities if somebody is just getting started and wanting to network, to look at whatever corporation that they're going into at the bottom, and then prove themselves by doing the beneath them details that they are put into in this game of life, and then start finding education programs that you were wanting to get into, manager positions that you were looking. And don't try to jump into just, I want to become a manager, I want to have your job someday. It's find the next step forward. I would like to do this. I have been seeing this. I know about this pertaining to this section. Is there a time where I can start doing this type of work? And then let them see you improve. Let them see you do that job. Be beneath your ability comfortably and slowly progress forward, and then let, again, that receipt, that ticket, speak for itself. It always sucks starting out when you know you have potential, but potential needs to be lived in order for leadership to manifest naturally. And leadership is it's a lot of work, it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of strain, it's a lot of getting pulled in different directions, it's a lot of giving guidance, it's a lot of independence, because there's nobody that you can really go to be like, hey, I'm dying here, or this really sucks right now. I'm barely making it through. You have to keep it together. You have to keep it together, and then people are still coming to you for advice. What should they do with their circumstance? And when you're spiritually / emotionally drained, then you can't provide the empathy that it would need beyond the science of a matter. So, say somebody needs to move, and there's a lot of stress with moving, and they've got family things going on, and they've got issues coming up with stuff, and kids have their progressions in life and the things that they're doing, and just don't have any empathy. Don't have any empathy for it, because your own life constraints have required so much of yourself. You can only give clinical responses.
Okay.
Yep.
On this note with the networking, let's talk about the listening skills with the networking. The part where you want to be a finely tuned listener in the conversation. Talk to me about being a good listener.
Benjamin Franklin said, when listening, don't focus on their eyes, focus on their mouth. Watch how their mouth is moving. Um, it's a good way to start to read lips. It's also another way to. Some people allegedly are easier manipulated spiritually slash emotionally through eye contact. Um, so by looking at the mouth, again, tones it down to clinical, taking away human vulnerabilities, and focusing on what they're saying by not just hearing it, but by seeing it, by focusing on how the words are articulated from that person's mouth. Another thing is sometimes you already know the answer. Sometimes to save time, it's appropriate to interrupt given the right position, circumstance, relationship, so on. Um, Sometimes you have to sit through somebody saying a bunch of bullshit that doesn't it may literally just be a bunch of nothing, useless
Mhm.
nonsense, and it would behoove you to sit through it and be quiet.
Yeah, on that note, removing all distractions in a listening situation. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great, it can be very intimidating for a person hiding something. And
Well,
if
it's like you're saying though, networking, you're putting up with someone else's stuff, even if it's garbage. You sit through it for a little while, and like it's like you say, you remove the distractions from these uh, conversations, the listening situation it is, in order to improve your networking skills overall, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Consider extracting as much information from the person as possible for their benefit, and yours. So it's expressing respect, it's expressing confidence, it's giving somebody time. So there's a certain level, even on a business level, a certain level of emotional content, or maybe even what some call, oh, happy, comfort. There's a level of comfort with human interaction that's biologically in us, even in high stress situations where it's opposing parties. So ah, I lost my train of thought with where that was going.
It'll come back. Talk to me real quick about absorbing details that are getting presented to you when it comes to networking and listening.
Yet keep your ears open 360. 360.
Okay.
Study your opposition. And what I mean by that is study your opposition, and don't study your opposition from a we are team A, you are team B, we don't like you, here's our ideology. It's more take it and see what they have to say. See what their ammo and armor actually looks like. See what it is that the reason they're so loyal to their cause. See what it is that they believe. Imagine yourself as them in their
Okay.
situation. And then you can start to get you can do that. Then you can communicate to the core of their system, their ideology, their engineering, their construction that they dedicated to, and then potentially create a truce or agreement. Because again, networking is power. Networking is more resources, potentially time and financial support for a common goal or a common goal interest. If I help you, it will help me achieve my goal faster than I would without you. Them
Okay.
must have the same thing, must have the same thing in mind. It doesn't have to be the same goal, it has to be the same mind frame, that if I work with these people, they will help me get to my goal faster than I would without them.
Okay. Yeah. With that in mind, the importance with the networking here and the listening, talk to me about ignoring the temptations of zoning out.
Yeah, yeah.
Big deal. It's a big deal. You know, we've gone over it in all the ed videos and in the tapes in the mess hall. So they've talked to talk. We've heard it a lot. Ignoring temptations of zoning out, especially when they're, like you say, they're talking out their ass and they're saying a lot of ignorant and stupid, arrogant things. Talk to me
Okay.
about ignoring the temptations of zoning out.
Okay. Key fundamentals for that. Go in prepared. First things first. Go in prepared. Starting with sober minded, well dressed, well hygienic, well confident, emotionally taken care of and sound, mentally prepared with a plan for action and execution with a backup plan in case things go wrong.
Okay, on that one too, like you're saying, with that in mind, tell me about how. Tell me about the part where you put off other thoughts in order to listen.
That comes with again looking at the person's mouth. Look at
Okay.
their mouth. Stare at the words coming out of their mouth. And
Okay.
this will be since the movements are they're small, the eyes can focus without the body moving. So in a situation where the body is more or less required to be mainly still while listening to someone, right?
Yeah.
Um, Socially, that's a part of our culture. Be still when someone's talking, right? Don't stretch. It's not like you can't hear them, but you should just stand there and dedicate this time to just either sitting there or standing there during conversation. So, okay, you stare at their mouth, stare at their mouth, and then you listen to what they're saying. And if there is a distraction, let it be known. And if something was missed, apologize culturally. I'm sorry, I missed that. If it was missed, and
Okay.
you hold on. If you
Yeah.
need to be, say, Japanese level polite, wait for the sound of something loud or a distraction, and then call the distraction, assist the distraction to break the train of thought, and then ask, sorry, can you repeat that again? And then if they skip the spot where you miss, can we go back to and go to what you remembered last? Go back to here and discuss that again. Because for many highly intelligent people, it is very difficult for them to even think about one thing at the same time. Sometimes there's two screens going on, three screens, 12 screens. It's like the architect in the Matrix office inside their heads. They've got all these different screens of thought, memories, goals, while living in reality and appreciating what they see around them. There's big thinkers out there. So to do this is to try to focus on their lips and then keep having the conversation with them in your head while listening by adding in your head to the knowledge that you already have that relates to what they are talking about and where that can help lead towards your goals. You're not expressing this. You are watching what they are saying while adding to the conversation without saying anything. So then when it is your turn to talk, you add to the conversation because you've already been having the conversation with them the whole time. They just don't know it. They didn't need to know it. You do this so you can focus and be able to come with a prompt and educated and informed on topic reply.
And would we define this as responding appropriately during the conversations?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
This would be very proper business etiquette and or any intellectual debate. Person who's debating should do this. Should do this. So if, say, you have the opportunity to observe, say somebody recorded something and they said it was a smear campaign about you, or it was just a debate. They're going to debate you, but they recorded it and they put it out. Say even something as a rap beef or a poetry beef, like Sir Walter Raleigh and fucking Maori. So what you do is you listen to what they had proposed, and each part you take it. They had proposed this. I propose this, or in agreement. I agree with this because you need a because, or I disagree with this because. While that person's still talking, then continue. Okay, next statement they made, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I agree because, or I disagree because. Next statement, I agree because, disagree because, and so on until they stop. Then now it is your time and your turn to speak. This works in just about any conversation where you are the number two person in it, where the other person has either a structural advantage by title, position, legal, financial, or bribery, or violent and genuine threat with intent to cause harm. This type of diplomacy has worked for me on every type of situation, including survival, and the only times I've faltered is when I've deviated from it. Is when I've deviated from it. So,
Okay.
yep.
Tell me about asking the right questions at the right times.
Oh, absolutely. So again, this is the person speaking. Agree, disagree, because, agree, disagree, because. And if you have the time and your brain has the space, find a way to agree. Because if you come in already disagreeing, that's fine. You're already emotionally, ideologically drilled, set, driven, goal oriented to disagree. So find a way to agree. So then you can understand the person's side. Again,
Okay.
next statement, find a way to agree before you find a way to disagree, because you're already ready to disagree. Emotionally, subconsciously wired, wanting to disagree. So you have to try to, as fast as possible, find a way to agree. So then, again, find a way to agree, because it may only be from your position that what they're saying is disagreeable.
Okay. Now, on that note, tell me about putting off other thoughts in order to listen.
Mm.
Yeah.
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 So meditation, that goes into meditation. So one of the biggest things about like meditation and all of that is to learn to let go of trying to control every thought, and just let the thought be and let the thought go. Don't wrestle with it. Just allow it to fleet. And then again, if it's in conversation, as quickly as possible, go back to thinking about each statement they make. Catch up to their statements. Get to where they are at. You've lost train of thought. Oh, fuck. Get to train of thought. Okay, what is the sentence that they have just made and are making right now? Agree, disagree. Find both in your mind. Agree, disagree. Look at their mouth. Stare at their mouth again, because the only time you're going to have this like fleeting thought that's going to be overly distracting if you're staring at their mouth. So first things first, go back to stare at their mouth. Second thing is that should fleet the thought. That should fleet the thought. That should shush it away and back on track. So now, yeah, just get back on track. Watch their mouth. Look at the sentence. Agree, disagree. Get them both right in your mind. You need both of them, and then continue, and then
So
sit
you
silently. Yeah.
so you think it's a good rule that when you're networking to stop letting your mind wander.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's just a lot
self-discipline.
of,
Try to self-discipline your mind to focus on the task at hand. Yeah.
okay.
And to also appreciate exhaustion, because you can be wonderful at something and then you just need a break, whether it be 15 minutes, a couple hours, a couple days, a month, a year, few years. Just need to step away from the primary focus of the thing itself, to because we get fatigued short term, medium, long term, just as well. We can get so fatigued from things that we've loved that we don't love it anymore. We fucking hate it because we're fatigued
Yeah.
by it. Yep.
On that note, um, tell me about training your mind to have a conscious desire to hear what others are saying.
Um. Yeah. Yeah. Some people are easier than others. But
Yeah.
always trying to practice publicly courtesy, and even if it's fake, even if you don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be courteous, and some days are harder than others, the most that a human should ever expect from another human in courtesy is to be ignored, and to view being ignored as a courtesy, because it is better to be ignored than to be harassed. So when there are moments for invite of conversation, eye contact within 4 feet that initiates at, say, 6 feet, comes closer, 4 feet, and both responses have been positive, be it a smile, be it a welcoming approach with a smile. That is an invite to communication, especially if you smile back, the smile is returned. Okay, back to simple. My name is. May I have yours? Your name is. It's lovely to meet you. Would you like to continue this conversation at a later date, or go somewhere else for a better setting? Yes, I would. No, I would not. Actually, because. And then you move on. Keeping it structured and scientific, no matter if it's positive or negative, and by looking at both sides of the equation: agree, disagree, positive, negative, I want, I don't want, they don't want. These things, this sort of binary code of social interaction is practically infallible. It's practically infallible. How to listen is to look. How to correct yourself: go back to looking. Go back to looking at their mouth, their words. Copy their sentence in your head. They complete a sentence, or if you can trail along behind them. Some of us can actually get very predictive with their words to include entire statements, where we're actually silently about a word ahead of them. Some variant differentiation in how the expression comes out. However, the goal of the statement is already completely known before the statement is made. But you start that with trailing behind the person, or repeating the sentence in your head that they had just made, the statement that they had just made, and then the argument for their statement, agreed, for them, and the reasons for, because, and then the arguments against, disagree, and the reasons because. And
Okay.
always need the reasons, not just the because, but the reasons become the because. These are the reasons why, not just the emotionally, this screwed us over, this blah, 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 this isn't going to work out, this is financially detrimental, this is damaging to the network, to goals.
Okay.
Yep.
So it sounds like you're defining absorbing the details that get presented to you in the conversation. Uh, So you would agree that listening helps you in all the aspects, all the way, when it
Absolutely.
comes to, okay,
Absolutely.
okay. Um, Let me see here.
And all these skills come with effort until trained. Or yeah, yeah, they come with effort until trained, exactly. And then they become natural.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even think about it.
So, um, let me see.
If you're thinking about it, you're correcting yourself, you know?
So, talk to me about effortlessly coming up with conversation topics.
Having a good and broad education on different topics to talk about. Also, then knowing your audience. There are some people that we look for on a what we would call a friendship basis, which is theoretically the conversations about anything, and they're honest and no harm, no foul, and emotional, social, um, dis- disruptions or fallibility behaviors can fallible behaviors can be pardoned, forgiven, without permanent or future or business consequence.
Yeah,
So
on that note, real quick.
know your audience.
Yeah, on that note too. Tell me about the ability of overcoming awkward situations when they arise.
Oh man. Those moments where
Yeah.
you just look back. Are you talking about the moments where you look back and go, "Oof, ah, I really
Oh yeah.
fucked that up," or if I could
In
have
the moment.
only done this, if I did this
Well,
and that.
sometimes they uprise. Kind of. I hate to go there with the seminars, but they put you on the spot, and you're in the middle of an awkward situation. And what I'm asking is overcoming it when it arises in that situation.
Observe, observe what you can and can't do, and
Yeah.
learn the rules, and adapt to the environment. If it's a new environment, learn what the environment looks like and how the people are behaving. After you learn the rules, learn how the other people respond to them. Are they accepting of the rules? How many of the rules are being broken? How are the rules being enforced? um, and then try to adapt to overcome or succeed. Not everything in the process of achieving goals, be them short, medium, or long term, are expected, intended, fair, a part of the plan at all. And adapting to these types of situations by for one observing, but then being calm, and then assessing what is required to achieve to
Okay.
move forward from whatever environment it may be or high stress situation.
Tell me about the part of being good at finding things that you have in common with the other person.
Yeah, yeah, because common interests are universal. Basically, people like food, right? So, what type of food do you like? Or, dudes like cars, of course. So, yeah, that's always
Mhm.
cars or bikes or something cool like that. Um, women's interests. It's like they'll come to you with them. They'll come to you and tell you their interests. There's no need to even really ask. Um, but these kind of things, they tell you their interests basically, and then you provide. Um,
Yeah. So
yeah.
tell me about, on that note, tell me about being happy to be yourself in the conversation. Talk to me about that skill because it's a skill in itself. Being happy to be yourself with your role in the conversation.
Having something to talk about with an educated mind frame, not just academically but personally, based on experience with results. Um, these kind of things build a natural social confidence, and
Mm,
in understanding to not speak on anything that doesn't have logos, ethos, and porthos, the
yeah.
science of rhetoric behind it.
Right. Okay. And so on that one, tell me about the idea of advancing your career and not so much just personally you, just anyone in general, using yourself as the hypothetical in the situation, right? Tell me about advancing your career by starting more conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. If go to areas where the type of people that are involved in your culture or goals, and begin talking with them. Go to the gatekeepers. Go to the gatekeepers. Be humble enough to know that people are above you, and go to them with a skill that can adapt to what they already have functioning.
Mm. Okay. On that one, uh, tell me about avoiding small talk.
Yeah, small talk is
You want to avoid it. So it's the idea that you don't worry about making small talk. So tell me about the key factor of avoiding small talk.
okay. So there's a social divide among people where sports and music are the primary interest of topic conversation.
Mm.
Also, there's news. So there's a group of people where there are certain news outlets where this is where their conversations derive from, their information and so on. Studying how to use one's logic, and then current events, without a codependency on any particular source in matters where you cannot get to the source itself. Otherwise, always get to the source itself so you can be well informed in any conversation. Know the topic before speaking, and if you don't know the topic, appreciate the speaker who does, because that's how to get yourself closer towards your goals. Appreciating other people who have accomplished more than you have in your own life, and with all your own accomplishments, continue forward. So after you accomplish long-term goals in the past and see that you're still standing and strong, make new goals. Make new goals, and what you'll see is you had old goals that were waiting for you to consciously accept that you can achieve them.
Okay. And we'll get to the goal, the setting goals part in a while. But on again on that note, with what you're saying here, tell me about why it's important with conversations, just conversations too. Tell me why it's important to not be intimidated by others.
Well, in conversation, you should know your role and place in the position, and that means, for one, know your political position in the conversation first. Understand the hierarchy of the room, including your place in it, whether it's at the bottom of the table or the top, or in the middle. Um, know more than you are expected to know from your position from the bottom to the top, and anything in between. Know more than your position is expected to know significantly more than your position is expected to know, and be humble about it, be quiet about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that too, tell me about the talent of constantly improving, right? At what this key is here. Tell me about always improving your topics for starting the conversations.
Always improving topics for starting the conversations.
New reasons to approach whoever it might be to initiate a networking situation,
yeah. That
finding
goes,
new things.
yeah, that goes with looking at new information pertaining to that specific person's personal tie to whatever business organization, their own specific interests and or functions, why the business is interested in them. So there's two things: why they're interested in the business and their own goals, short, medium, and long, and why the business is interested in them. So understanding those pieces can better help dictate happy there's that word, functional communication among any peer at the table, but know what they want, know what the business wants, and then you already know what you want specifically. If you have those reasons in mind, those reasons for each other in mind, then that conversation should be fruitful. It should be beneficial. Whatever the topic or direction may be. Say somebody works in an electrical department and you work in the machinery area, but you've been looking to find something in the electrical department, so you start studying the equipment that they're using. You study abroad with the equipment maybe competitors are using or new equipment that may be coming out, stuff like that. So not in a hostile or business standpoint, but in a friendly standpoint. Say out there the term smoking and joking, and you meet up with one of the electricians. Oh, blah blah blah. How's your day? Oh yeah, day's fine. Thanks. So hey, I saw this thing on the thing about the thing that you guys are doing. What do you think about that? Have you seen that yet? No, I haven't seen it yet. Maybe I have. Well, now you know their status on understanding the logistical midterm, long term competitive environment around for a more corporate level while being on the bottom. So then you can now begin to inform, make space in that new department for yourself by being informed about these new things.
Okay, so on that note, tell me about how each time you start a conversation, how it broadens your horizons.
Each time we start a conversation that broadens our horizons is when it is with another intelligible human being that can either inspire thought or emotion. And
So you don't think you can learn something by somebody that it doesn't do well at it?
eh,
I think you can still learn about personalities and seeing fucked up people and their new traits, that you didn't.
teaching helps keep us refreshed. Um, Teaching helps us keep basic fundamentals, which are the bread and butter of any organization. That is the structure, that is the rock. Knowing what works and passing that information. So when it comes to learning from teaching, it's basically just keeping what the foundations are fresh in your mind while pardoning error. We can learn about our own patience, but sometimes somebody's just absolutely ridiculous, nonsensical, counterproductive, or destructive. If it is taken into consideration that this is educational or informative information and will any positivity or goal oriented for organization, person, or personal, be have this be any sort of benefit.
Okay. Um, where was I at this last?
Sometimes the chicken's trying to fly with ducks. It just needs to stay with chickens and do chicken shit and not be disruptive. Because if if it's a disruption, that's a waste of time. And sometimes ignorance is the longest wasting disruption in an organization. It's somebody's ignorance, or the next thing is it's somebody's emotions. So ignorance breeds jealousy. So
Mm-hmm.
when these certain things are entertained, it can destroy an entire organization. So certain things, it's best to not entertain. It's very difficult to. It can be very difficult to allow a disruption to continue for people that are trying to progress an organization further, or themselves further, with this disruption standing in the way. It can actually put a halt to production. It can cause an entire organization to shut down. Um, yeah, it can put years on your own goals, wasted. Um, stuff like that. So not all of it should be entertained from a positive or an accepting standpoint. Some things are absolutely disruptive and ignorant, and a waste of time. Yeah.
Tell me about how making more contacts helps you advance in your career.
Make good contacts. We can have a whole ton of contacts, but if there isn't a need, or going to be a need, and never will be a need from or for either person, or that window is closing because either they change their goals, their direction, their function, or you change your direction, goals, and function, um, to not get yourself, for one, too stretched out, too overwhelmed, um, but to always have a function available for the people around you inside of your network, and to have an intention to at least one day make goals together, to have a reason to connect your machines together long term. These
Okay.
things are really important. Yeah.
On that note, tell me why it's important to not worry about what other people are thinking of you while you do this.
Well, jealousy comes with success and
Yeah.
individuality. Um, Anything that goes against the grain of the norm, which is the significant mass majority, can cause all kinds of emotional disruptions, which lead a lot of human behavior.
Yeah.
So, trying to be as minimally disruptive while making big waves is also very, very important.
Okay, on that note, interesting. Funny you go there. All right, on that note, talk about the part where you're good at finding things you have in common with people.
Well, we go back to basic human necessity, basic human desires, social human necessity, social human desires, civilized, whether it be this culture, this country, that country, cultural rules and expectations, and you go from there. You go from there,
Okay.
right? Know your audience, know where you're at, know your boundaries, um, you know, and then you can begin to communicate.
A lot of people have issues with shyness, right? I'm not saying you do, just a lot of people out there. They have problems with overcoming shyness in these networking situations. So, is there anything you might be able to say about having the will of overcoming shyness? Is there anything that you might be able to elaborate on it?
Be confident in your own knowledge. Um, get in where you fit in. An astronaut may or may not well fit into, say, a deathcore concert at a Seattle dive bar. but he may have a great conversation in, one of the lounges or restaurants down the road. Um,
Yeah. On that note, so then tell me about uh, making the positive connections with the other people.
Um, Starting off with the simple basic necessities. For one, starting with neutral is a courtesy. To ignore somebody is a courtesy. To engage with a person takes energy. So, recognizing that the other person, it's going to take energy from them too to acknowledge you. So make it worth their while. Um, be charging instead of draining, and be stimulating. But for a person with say low self esteem, self hypnosis, to view yourself with a positive image and start with structuring your posture. That's the easiest way. Kind of like Caesar Milan with the dog, you'll straighten out their tail, stuff like that. Um, it's the same thing with a human. Have your chin back, shoulders down, relaxed. Chin down, head up, um, pelvis forward, straight spine, and this will open up your body to feel confident in your balance. Just in your standing balance can help give you confidence in your assurance, in your structure, in your footwork, that can give the confidence to speak, but also a positive image, a positive self-reflection, to say positive things about yourself instead of negative. We can often get trapped in a world of negativity, isolation, depression, anxiety, and caught between depression, isolation, and anxiety all at the same time, regardless of circumstances, the social status, what people see, what goes behind, inside the realm of the shadow self, and so on. Um, it to reprogram the mind into rejecting those negative thoughts, and to replace them then with positive thoughts. Oh, I'm not good at anything, to I am good at this. I wish I were good at that. I'm going to find where to take a class to get good at that. Um, I don't like how they talk to me, um, so I'm going to go tell them, instead of I don't like how they talk to me, so I'm going to leave the situation. And if they come back to me and continue, I'm going to tell them why I don't want to talk to them anymore, to end the conversation. These kind of things, um, these kind of interactions where no is appropriate and genuine, and has been disregarded, are great places to if we don't have esteem, then we'll have to play it. So to play and portray confidence, to imagine first you as that person with the esteem, to go and say what you need to say before you do it, and then do it. Have a plan to do it, and you be just fine. Be just fine. Tell yourself in the mirror you're great, and this is what you have to work with, and you can do more every day with what you have, if you choose to. And the grind is suffering, so if you suffer, make it worthwhile.
Tell me about work hard first and play later.
Yeah, yeah, the play later comes at exhaustion. It's when you can't work. It's when your body is destroyed, you're mentally exhausted, your brain has been turned to mush, your emotions are shot. Like, you know stages of life. Sometimes and I adopted this from a part of my martial arts practice, which was an American school. um it was kind of psychology with car mechanics, And sometimes there was a stage I was building myself hot rod, and I just totaled it. So now I've got to redesign this thing, and now I'm building it to be an aggressive and defensive, fighting armored hot rod. It's got laser systems and missiles on it. It's all psychological, and for a metaphysical battle, if you will. And then now I don't even mess with any explanation to self of what it could metaphysically be physically shaped into with the imagination, my emotional and social state and interaction and how I need to approach people. It's a
Tell me
battleground.
about tell me about the part where getting started right away, even if you don't feel like it.
Yeah, that comes with self-discipline instead of motivation. It's here we go, and then that becomes routine. And what we do becomes our routines. And
So yeah,
routines, yeah,
okay.
yeah. Routines don't like to be disrupted either. So we have to we can shock routines out some of them, but some of them we have to slowly let them die like embers in a fireplace. Just leave them alone. They'll go out. Some are healthy, some are less healthy, some are very unhealthy. But they're all things that people have to work
Okay.
through.
Tell me about naturally choosing work over procrastination.
That comes from a healthy mindset, which comes from a healthy environment, and the ability to choose where one wants to put their efforts and putting your efforts that align with your goals. This is the best position that a person can really be in life, is in a place where they can align their efforts with their goals.
Okay. Tell me about loving the feeling of getting a head start.
Let's see. Yeah, having the time to prepare, having the time. I look at a head start as having the time to prepare.
So
And
starting projects early, you would say starting projects early.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Early research, um, better awareness, better situational awareness through experience, be it harsh or educated, formal education. These kind of things, um, you know, they help keep a person ready for anything.
You would say that you're the kind of person that dives straight into your work.
Yeah, but also there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that um, before it's even known that I've been thinking about working on something. I've been studying it, um, sometimes for years.
Yeah.
Um, there's still things that are a part of personal goal sets that have achieved their short term and medium goals, but not their long term. That still just keep working on them. There's things that have been accomplished, and okay, learn from that and move on. And as long as they tie to your primary goal system, any side project is a win.
Okay. Tell me about starting quickly and beating others to the punch.
Um, I look at that as train overnight, train when everybody stops, study when everybody else is out, you know, carrying on. Give yourself a time to take a break. Give yourself days off, but when you're in the grind, when you're trying to figure all this stuff out, um, Work harder than everybody else, study more than everybody else, build your foundation first. And then after your foundation, you can relax. But relax doesn't mean relax. It just means geared towards intellectual pursuits, and start, instead of controlling and leading from the front, start to learn how to lead from the rear. And that's when things start to um, really happen in a controlled setting, in a controlled mind frame method, a lot more chill. That goes back to, your job. Okay, my job. Okay, let's do this.
Would
That's
you
what, yeah.
tell would you tell others with the position that you're in, that you've gotten yourself into, would you say to others getting started, would you suggest to always get started right away even if you don't feel like it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're young and learning. And when I say young, talking, all the way up to probably 33. Um, go overboard. Test your brain, test the abilities of your thought, and the length of thought, and of your physical capabilities. Go as hard as you can, and stumble and break and fall and mess everything up, but get straight A's while doing it. Get
Okay.
perfect scores while doing it.
Tell me about being somebody that seizes the moment and takes action.
If something is aligned with your goals and your skill sets, or skill sets that you desire, lining yourself up in the position with the people that want to or are designed to help somebody with those goals in mind, and help by means of institution or personal family relation knowledge, somebody in the business, and you have a need that they may require. um that's that's where it's at. That's it, really.
So, do you make things happen now rather than later?
Let's see. I have multiple projects going on, and I can laser focus on a lot of them throughout different times. When you have multiple projects, multiple goals set, multiple goal lines, if you will, or goal chains. Starting off with one, if a person doesn't have any goals in their life, short, medium, long, start by making a habit of writing them down. Start by making a habit of having pictures of what you want. Build your mental mind frame for your goal setting, to
Yeah.
begin to plug it into your subconscious that this is what you're going to do. And other people may not believe you, um, but if you actually start to do it and put it to the test, it it will work. You won't know how it's going to work. You start this with your long-term goal, your first, which isn't the lifetime long-term goals, but just a long-term goal of something you can't afford. You don't know how you're going to figure this out, and then you
Mm.
keep pushing for it, and then it happens. And then it happens.
Okay. What about the other angle, though, where you get started with being happy, thankful, and grateful for what you already have?
Always, every day. And sometimes that can be being grateful for tomorrow.
Mm.
Tomorrow is going to be different. Sometimes Having hope is a emergency tool, and sometimes when we can't be grateful for the day, we can be grateful for tomorrow, and we can be grateful in the end of the dark tunnel for the defeat by way of retrospect and learning from whatever our participation was in the matter of the defeat.
Okay. So tell me about devoting time each day to research, study, plan, and implement your ideas.
Every day, every day, everything that a person, if a person wants to be success oriented and goal oriented is the way to success, then every day find a way to make your interests tie into your goals or your goals into your interests. So
Okay. On that note, do you think that it works by only feeding the thoughts that serve the well-being of your growth?
um can you repeat that?
On the note with what you were just the answer you gave, to elaborate off of that, do you think that it's beneficial to only feed the thoughts that serve the well-being of your growth?
Um I think that there's some mindless and potentially dangerous entertainment out there that we can maybe indulge in from time to time without prolonged influence. However, understanding that the prolonged influence is based on the results of the cultures that sustain the artwork or mindless entertainment that we can find ourselves in, which obviously mindless entertainment isn't goal oriented. It may not even have a relation to anything or even be counterproductive to our own self image, and goals set short, medium, and long term. Say
It's kind of like an example. It's an example of how it doesn't matter what you like to indulge in or not. The true facts here are that the smut material isn't going to feed the thoughts that serve the well-being and the growth.
no, and normally if we look at smut material for what it is, and here's why is because smut material is primitive material, and it's easy to be entertained by it because it's core basic human necessity, i.e., revolved around sex and violence, and then the sophistication of the sex and violence revolves around how it's industrialized, corporatized, sold to be either socially acceptable or not. Like example, Britney Spears, sexualized since a teenager. She's hundreds of millions loved in America. Okay, porn star, hundreds of millions of followers, all in secret, shunned by society. Totally different acceptance. The other side is violence. Okay, so we got violent movies. Okay, it's okay if it's in a movie. It's okay if it's not real. It's okay if it's historical. It's okay if it's well written. It's okay if it's Hamlet. It's okay if it's the Avengers. But then in real life, we look at the influences of those that have been saturated culturally. Their genuine culture revolves around and has created these disruptive influences. It can lead to violence. To say John Rambo does not influence soldiers to join the military is like saying gangster rap has not influenced murder culture in America or in to say around the world with drill culture, i.e., in the UK and so on. It's traveled outside of our country's borders, so
I hear
it can
you.
be dangerous.
I hear you. Bottom line, you would agree that it doesn't matter how much you enjoy it, it doesn't feed the thoughts that serve the well being of your growth.
Absolutely, and where the only time it gets dangerous is when it becomes an obsession, when it becomes a disruption from the goals, and when it is forgotten that this does not relate to me, but becomes a source of inspiration itself for one's own genuine life instead of a, oh yeah, this is angry, or this candy is acidic, and my body doesn't want this, things of all that nature, or this is sexually entertaining, but it is not helping me achieve my own personal sexual goals and satisfaction in life and so on.
Okay. Tell me about making a plan and sticking to it.
There are certain levels of devotion that are required to make a plan work. MET-T, mission equipment, time terrain, subject to change every time. But you may be able to drive through the rain, storms, whatever opposition it may be. However, there comes a point where cutting ties is crucial. Personal goals need to be first and foremost, because accepting that life is individual is most important. This is your experience. It does not mean that other people's experience is not equally important, and should be just as equally important, respected, and treated as your own. It just doesn't mean that every path crossed has to be, permanent, or every goal made with every person set has to be accomplished. It means you continue forward. And this is what I mean when it comes to, you get back up. It's that, okay, it didn't work with this organization, it didn't work with these people, or it worked up into this point, and then this is where it went wrong, or it didn't go wrong. This is where my needs were met, their needs were met with me, and we parted ways. These things, it gets to become a healthy thing where departure is no longer a disruption, but you leave with tools, you leave with good memories, relationships, um, uh, and potential for future endeavors or investments.
Okay. Um, on that note, give me an example of why you should always choose the right path for your individual self.
For one, this it doesn't matter what theology a person is interested in, or what political position, or what level in the castle system they are. Their own experience is individual, and that one piece of the puzzle is a function to a global network of what we humans are, and that experience meant something somewhere. That record of that existence at least a point in time had a significance, and the cosmic rarity of human existence is truly astronomical, and by the stars, by the planets, by the space, um unquantitative, miraculous. And to appreciate that, and to understand that everybody else's experience as well is just as miraculous, you know um just in being. Everything else, success and nice things, and peace in one's life, and shelter, and the privilege of being an American, um these things, uh are easy to take for granted, or to look at, when they get disrupted, that it's the end of the world. um but to understand that all people at the core of just existing, it's quite a strange thing, at least, to ponder on. um so therefore, since it is so strange, I believe that we exist as a means of documentation, keeping the experience alive on planet Earth, and that's why we've got beings that swim, and beings in the volcano areas. These things called tube worms. They're in areas so violent that they're like the only things that really live there, and they share DNA. They have like the same DNA. They're red because they've got red blood. Very similar DNA to humans in the volcanic bottoms of the ocean, and then we've got creatures that are flying. We've got creatures that are small. We've got micro creatures that live in a micro world that we can't even observe without a microscope. Tardigrades, these little space bears that you can throw them in the vacuum of space and they'll still survive. There's so much to explore, and then to be the human in all of this grand mixture of a wild planet Earth, and then to pretend to be civilized, to behave like our clothes are our nature, or our job is our actual being, to adopt these roles that we accept inside of society. Um, you know, can those things can escape the harshness of what nature is, and what human nature is, and what can only be expressed in words and not in the physical, appropriately, without a formal taboo or an agreement with the government, to do. And some things are never acceptable, maybe in certain countries, but those are regarded as very primitive. Primal is nature. Civilization and being civilized is an expression of that nature, and in that inherits the ability to be generous and empathetic. So there's a lot to appreciate from any level of being, just for existing, period.
Tell me what happens when you stop denying yourself the chances to be great.
You begin to work towards what you wanted to be, and hopefully you started when you were young, and if you had good guidance, you did. You saw your childhood goals, and went after them in the most related way that you could in the real world.
Okay.
And it's no longer childish. It becomes a reality, and you become that person, and you see yourself. You're doing it while you're in the moment, and in the heat of the moment. You're doing it, and you're seeing yourself doing it, and you're excited about doing it, and you're not even there yet. And you're not even there yet. You're there yet. You're there then when you look back and you see that you did it. You see that you did it, and you're like, wait a minute, where's everybody else? And they're all like, I accomplished my goals. My goals were way back here. Thank you. Oh, what about you? You helped me accomplish mine too. Oh, well, I'm still gonna keep going. Okay, well, have fun. But it was great. Thank you. Oh, okay, guys. And then having the gratitude to say thank you as well for being there when you were.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then you just keep going forward until you look back, and you'll keep going forward, and then you'll realize there's no more forward. There is no more forward. This is it. This is the spot. There this is where I wanted to be. This is beyond what I ever thought I was going to do with this, and it doesn't look like that, it looks like this, and I didn't know I was doing it, and these were the opportunities that I had. These were the opportunities that I took. This is what I did with my time to get here, and it looks like this. And accepting what it looks like when the project is finished, then you just maintain it, sustain it, or abandon it in total and go do something different. But when you abandon it in total at that point, you're taking everything you learned with you passively from it.
Okay, so on that note, tell me about trusting yourself with making the right decisions.
Always trust yourself above anybody, everybody. Trust yourself first and foremost. Um, Trust yourself by being honest with yourself and be honest with others. This is the only way to be able to trust yourself first and foremost. The other thing is, if you are honest with yourself first, and then you have now the ability to be honest with others and have the ability to accept and also understand when they are being honest or dishonest with or about you, okay, then you can guide yourself into healthy relationships, out of unhealthy relationships, without major disruption, without shock. um and you can be confident in all of your conversations, because you can go back to recollecting what is truthful, and without having to switch a narrative, because you tell this person this thing, what they want to believe, what they want to hear. You tell this person that thing, what they want to believe, and those two points contradict each other. You get yourself confused. So sticking with the truth is always the easiest, first and foremost. You know,
Okay.
yeah.
Tell me about making the necessary sacrifices to achieving your goals.
You will sacrifice everything if you've got long-term goals and you are from this world, which you are, and you have been forced by social grooming into a trench of lies, and you have been forced to tell them yourself, and they have been unnecessary, and you've been made to think that they were, and they've hindered you, and you will have to come to a point in your life where you sacrifice all those lies, and then you can start accomplishing all the real goals that you actually want in your life. Other than that, you're going to be achieving everybody else's goals.
Okay, so tell me about daring to be different.
Yeah, you'll sacrifice everything. Daring to be different, that is great. That's great. So once a person finds out that social identity is a man-made construction, human carried on by all sexes, genders, cultures, creeds, and so on, that these roles that we play are not who we truly are, but who we truly are is a human being on planet Earth who do what thou will, you will, you will. Try to be kind, but there's a conflict many times between truth and kindness. So I stick with truth. However, identities, in knowing that I am not my fucking khakis, to quote Tyler Durden, um, then you can begin to play with it. You can begin to play with it. Now, this is kind of I guess someone could construct a fantasy of CIA type or super spy type, not even super spy knowledge or Hollywood knowledge, but the ability to understand that this is all a Shakespearean play. We have been given these roles to play these parts. If you don't want to be Bob the Builder, you can go be Bob the policeman, or you can go be Bob the ice cream man, or whatever the hell you want to do. Um, it's just a social construct. So playing with it, changing your clothes into a different cultural identities, basically flags what these brands, what this style of clothing represents. You walk into a city wearing a suit, a three-piece suit with nice shoes, maybe a nice watch. Your hair is well done. You're either clean shaven or whatever. You look good. You're standing with confidence. You are the same person. You go in. You have your hair maybe dyed, maybe held a different way. Maybe it was up, now it's down. Maybe it's short. Maybe it's now cut in a different way, or it's now whatever. It fits an ideology. The clothing now fits a different ideology. Maybe it's a t-shirt, it's got some logo on it, it's got some political statement or music statement and so on. The pants now they fit that, and then go to that same city, same locations, walk the same path, at the same time of day on the same day, and see how people observe you, and see the difference in response, see the types of people you attract, see the types of people you repel. This is, they can't please all the people all the time. So putting this to the test is great for individual growth, psychology, personal freedom, self-expression, because you realize all of these expressions, no matter what, are a compartmentalization. They're never the true whole of the human, and never can actually express who that person actually is. It's just an identity form, an identity format, a trigger that causes a cognitive response in the viewer to view and treat you by a certain way based on their own culture and cultural identities and expectations. So to be free from this, to be able to play around with it and mess with people's heads, is to also be able to walk into any type of environment that you want and observe it, and then be able to adapt to it, mimic it, regardless of belief or acceptance of that culture or identity at all whatsoever. Critical to superior level business, social interaction, or intel information gathering on medium, long term levels, but also short term testing it. Go out there and test it. Go out there and test it. Just dress different. Dress in different types of clothes. Talk to people different. Use an accent. Talk to someone like this, and they might think a little bit different of you. Then if I'm like this, man, I've been on this podcast. Woo! Everybody's partying here. Yeah, get the beer. Woo! It's gonna have a totally different response to the people around you.
Tell me why developing self-belief will help you to achieve your goals.
Developing a positive self-image is absolutely crucial, because if you don't believe that you can do it yourself, how the heck can you convince anybody who's already there that you should even try? If you don't believe that you can do it yourself, what on earth could make you try? What's the reason? What's the point of even having a goal? You have to believe that you can do this before you even set a goal. That's the point of goals also, is to start to enhance the belief in the long term by setting the short term goals. And once you see those short term goals start to become accomplished, then you see a medium term goal accomplished. Then you see a long term goal that's taken you 3 years, 4 years working on it, waiting for it, not knowing how it's going to happen. It gets accomplished. Sweet. Then you just know your confidence is there. But building a self-image for somebody who's been abused or destroyed, to no longer, I would recommend to no longer focus on anything negative for a period of time at least, and get rid of all negative music, all topics of sorrow, all love stories, if you will, because all romances are heartbreak. The best romance is a heartbreak. It's a tragedy. It's the one that brings the most emotion out of people. It's the one that sells the most. It's the one that gets the most credit, the most impact, and so on. Um, so to not be subjugated to that, but to be aware of it, then you can harness the powers that come with it. But if you don't have the confidence, then to repeat that you can do this instead of saying, if you are on a jog, here's a tester, short-term tester or goal. And a good buddy who's built like Chris Hemsworth, he taught me this method for increasing running time. So walk from one pole to the next pole, light pole, electric pole, and then a slow jog to the next, and then walk to the next, then a slow jog to the next, and do this for a mile. And instead of telling yourself you can't, tell yourself I can. Tell yourself I'm going to. Tell yourself one more. I got one more in me. And after you get that one more, tell yourself again, I've got one more in me. And then tell yourself again until it becomes natural. And then you just start picking up your pace. And now you know, yes, you can. Find things that can prove that you can prove to yourself that you can do this by making small projects or joining groups that do have people there that have accomplished the goals that you would like to accomplish for yourself. Being comfortable with starting off, being comfortable with looking foolish, being comfortable with accepting your own ignorance, and that there are people out there that are willing to help you. You may have to pay. You may have to sacrifice everything that you have to be able to get even a glimpse at the realities of your goals being accomplished in your life. It's worth it.
Do you think by doing all of this that you can make the best out of any situation?
Absolutely. 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 And sometimes endurance, it's just endure, and you will find that you have no limit.
Tell me about simply having a strong love for life.
If a person doesn't have one, then I recommend mindfulness, which is the simplest form of being able, for the West at least, to describe finding appreciation in anything. So, like looking at a rusty charcoal holder for a grill and seeing
Mhm.
all these oranges and reds, from a distance it may look dusty and brown, but if you look at it up close, it's oranges and reds, and then you see the different metals in it, and then you start to look at the natural patterning in what had happened from the oxidation, and it just looks really neat. And you just find something like that, things like that, and you can find them anywhere and with anything, to be able to appreciate as much of the micro world that the human eye can manage, but then to also look out at the horizon and appreciate the macro world and the limits of our own witness to the cosmos and the grandeur of what all this really is, what we're standing on, be it a stormy day or it's too hot outside, or the fall's coming, all the seasons. We're given enough as humans to be entertained by nothing more than what the planet provides as is.
Tell me about developing the habit to put yourself in a situation where it is normal for you to feel great about yourself.
Okay, so doing things that you want to do, aligning yourself with the people that want to do that too, proper communication with those people to set short, medium, and long term goals to make, even if it's something new, a physical possibility, a physical reality. Um, yeah,
You believe you can achieve anything you want?
absolutely.
Okay. Um, let's see what else. Um,
And that confidence comes from achieving over and over and over again things that I thought maybe I never would be able to achieve, and then I did achieve. Or, I thought, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to write a book one day. I'm going to write a novel length book one day. And next thing I know, I did it. And I didn't know that how much I was going to write before I had done that. And now, I'm a third of the way through a second novel. And I didn't think that. It wasn't that I didn't think I was going to do it. I thought about doing it. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know when I was going to do it, but I aligned myself with the right people and got the education, and then I did it. Same thing with martial arts, same thing with living with monks in China. I aligned myself with the right people. I had a position. They had a position that they wanted filled. I had the skills that they wanted to fill that position. And then I overachieved and was granted more opportunities. And
okay.
yeah,
Yeah. On that note, tell me about loving, respecting, and believing in yourself unconditionally.
necessary. And if somebody's going through it, repetition. If you've got to tell yourself in the mirror, so we went over rejecting bad thoughts. Um, and replacing them with good ones with from self-doubt and all this stuff to replace with positive things. um Loving oneself unconditionally usually would come with someone's alignment with their own cultural acceptable behavior or personally morally justified actions. What we will come to is that most people, it's either they care enough about what society thinks, to where there's something that they've done, whether it's non-criminal, non-predatory, non-harmful, um, is something that society doesn't like. So they have to cope with shame that they need to let go of, or it's genuinely something where a person wishes they could restart their life because they can't cope with the shame that they do have. Now society would say unconditionally love yourself, no, you have Jesus. And I would say biologically we are wired also for certain behaviors, and our laws are geared for certain behaviors. Now it doesn't mean the law doesn't get manipulated or broken, but that are designed to curb harmful behaviors that are in humans instincts. That's why they're documented down. What is primitive is usually, it doesn't have to be bad, but it usually can be. um, so if somebody breaks these parameters and knows that they cannot be accepted or loved by the people that they want to be accepted or loved by, then loving themselves unconditionally comes with a social dilemma. But if you are not one of those people, and you have no reason to be ashamed of yourselves, and you have not committed predatory acts or crimes against your fellow man or child or sister or so on anybody, then you have probably been basically socially tricked into feeling a certain negativity about yourself that isn't valid through a manipulation of social punishment, of manipulation of human instinct through social punishment, by tying those instincts to certain behaviors that indeed are not those instincts, but tied to the, or are indeed not those behaviors, but tied to those instincts by way of emotion.
Okay.
Uh,
Tell me about developing an unshakable self belief.
through reinforcement of action, consistency, um, keeping up with what your goals are, accomplishing goals, being able to look back and be like, I did that. I did this, I did these things that got me here, and I'm going for there. And I've got these stepping stones that I've got to put down. I've got these trial periods I have to wait or work through to get to where I'm going.
You believe with these keys that we have here that we're going over, do you believe that you're able to handle whatever life brings your way?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because I have, and
Yeah.
things that have taken dudes out, mind, body, spirit, permanently. Permanently. I'm still standing. Um I'm not depressed, I'm not anxious. Um the things that I could be quote unquote upset about are not being expressed but internalized and are justified and valid. We shouldn't like everything. Not everything is good. Not everything should be pardoned or justified. Um, Corruption shouldn't be pardoned or justified. So there are things to be upset about, but there's a difference between manageably upset and unmanageably. Same thing with happiness or all emotions, manageable or unmanageable. So everything's pretty manageable. I would say everything that I know has led my life to be pretty freaking manageable.
Why is it harder for everyone else to achieve their goals? And because it seems like for you, you find it easy to pursue these goals you have with confidence. How come it's so easy for you and so hard for everyone else?
For one, I don't think everybody else understands goals at all. There are those who do and those who don't, but I think quitting is a big part of that. If you give up before you succeed and turn that into the habit, starting something and then not seeing it through, um, whether it's making a painting or then we'll abandon projects throughout life. Um, but if we don't have if we don't have the reinforcement of the accomplishment itself from the past, that we suffered for this, we know we can do it. We've been through worse, we know we can do it. We've seen this done before, we know we can do it too. um it can be very difficult because what are you standing on? Again, goes back to the foundation. If you don't have a foundation, but also if you don't know how to set goals yourself, you don't even know what a goal is. You don't even know what a goal is because nobody ever taught you. Success is not something that children are born with. It's something that they're taught. And in a world, well, for one, it is in our society, Western society, significantly majority 80% raised by women. um, uh, Women don't tend to be as frontal lobe minded, which is what's required for a goal specific, goal driven person. It is a natural masculine trait to set goals. But if a child is not taught what a goal is, that the concept even exists, and has a process and has ways to build confidence through setting and accomplishing goals. That's why we have the short term goals are to build confidence. Medium term goals are to show we can do this big project. We're halfway there. We're almost there. We wanted to get these things for this done. We got these things for this done. Now with these things, we can build off of it. That's what a medium term goal is. Long term goal, we have built off of it. We have done it. It's either it's continuing running, functioning itself, or it is exactly what we intended for the product that we produced. Um,
So
but the
tell me
confidence
about,
building's in the beginning.
okay, so then tell me about aiming high and pushing yourself to the limit.
Aiming high, pushing yourself to the limit. Appreciate every bolt. Appreciate every turn. Appreciate every reach because every reach is what makes it to the top. If you don't appreciate every single step, then you're more likely to fall all the way back down. Um,
Okay.
yep,
So then talk about taking things to the next level to achieve the massive success.
that's when things don't work out, and you just keep on going and keep on educating yourself. Keep on learning new methods, new approaches, never look at what was learned from the past as something negative, but these are the tools that you got from it, and it won't be time wasted.
Okay, tell me about the determination part of that. How you achieve your goals because of what you just said, you're determined.
Warrior level determined. You could literally be trying to physically take me out, and I have a goal and a mission and a plan to survive through it to accomplish that goal on that mission. So
Do you always go after the highest possible level of success?
in whatever operation that I'm in, yeah, in whatever operation that I'm in, and that doesn't mean to be cutthroat,
Okay.
to anything in that operation that's functional, part of
So
the goal of
would
the
you,
whole.
you would say that you think bigger and bigger about yourself every day?
No, no,
No?
no, I don't.
Okay. Um, let's see. So are you reaching higher and further every day?
No, what I'm
No.
doing is I have my goals. I have my goals, and my goals are set, and I'm accomplishing the goals that I have, short, medium, and long term. And
And do you
and
and do you think with that in mind, do you think if you aim higher that you'll achieve more?
um, I don't, I can't see right now. Well, I think actually with what I'm working on, that it could be very very huge, life changing. I can fantasize about what's going to come after I achieve this next long term, well, set of long term goals. Um, it's going to be major. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
In some of these tapes, they say that you got to be someone who never lets up and is always driven.
yeah, yeah. Even when it's exhausting, even when it's
Right.
exhausting, you know.
So
Yeah.
you find yourself more intensely focused on it. Right.
Um, it's more, if you're not doing something, at least stretch. At least stretch. If your brain isn't putting something out, at least take in something worth taking in, that ties to your goal specifically as much as you can, and then sometimes actively, and then sometimes passively. So you tie your quote unquote passions to your goals in mind, and figure out a way to get these things to symbiotically work together for you. How do you benefit? How do your hobbies benefit your career, your financial position? How do you get your hobbies to start making money for you instead of costing you money? Things like that.
Would you say that on that note, it's about pushing success to the limit and getting the most out of it?
Well, I would say it's about getting the most out of life, but that doesn't
That's what
always
I mean.
mean being frantic or moving fast about it. It just, you know,
No, it just means pushing the issue of the success to the limit.
exactly. That set your goals high. That conquest isn't the only way to conquer goals. That being an observer of the world is just as important as being a conqueror of the world, and to go out there and observe it and experience it as peacefully as you can with other people for your own sake and theirs, and for that of the future. And there's a lot to see on this planet. There's a whole lot to see. And
Tell me about being the kind of person who never gives up.
yeah, no, no,
Because that's what comes up when you're talking about it. The question is, you know, because it seems like that's the type of person you are. So tell me what it's like to be the kind of person who never gives up.
it hurts. It comes with a lot of respect, but it comes with a lot of pain. It hurts. It hurts. Yep. Yep. And it's been maddening at times. It's hurt so bad. and it's been unfair, and it's come from just worst case type scenarios, be they physical or metaphysical, and both. Um, and it changes you into being a genuine survivor of circumstances because you had to physically, mentally, emotionally navigate that circumstance for your physical genuine survival and or sanity. And there are people that'll intentionally drive you to insanity. And most clinical cases of say insanity is actually circumstantial. Therefore it's not clinical. It's literally somebody fucked with somebody's head so bad they drove them nuts. It happens all the time. So in being the person that does not give up, it sucks. I understand why everybody else falls out. I get it, especially genuinely tough things. Um, when it comes to physical, I probably shouldn't sign up for some of the tough, dangerous things or high stress things. But when it comes to mental and emotional, in you're in a civilized world, which means we speak instead of act. These stresses can be astronomical to just kind of keep it together in the facade world, the civilized world. The nature doesn't rule here, law does. And law says we talk about these things instead of act on them. So, there's a lot to juggle. There's a lot to juggle when things aren't going right and you are the person that is going to stick through until the end, until the ship has sank, until there is no hope, until there's a warning given. I am out of here, boys. This thing is not going to make it. Here's what I'm seeing, and you have
What
to
about
jump out for your own necessity.
being motivated at all times?
That's self discipline. That's self discipline. There's motivation, which I see this video. I heard this podcast. I'm motivated now, and then I listened to all the say David Goggins. I listened to all the David Goggins tapes, and I was running and I was doing all this stuff, and then I listened to all the David Goggins tapes, and after I heard them all, I played some of them on repeat, but then I started quoting it, and then now I'm not running anymore. Um, this kind of stuff happens all the time. This is motivation, but self discipline is that ugh, this sucks. Fuck. I feel like fuck my body is gonna fall apart and my brain is exhausted or from a writing standpoint, I am emotionally fucking drained doing this. I need to complete the scene or I'm bored. I'm bored writing this, but I have to complete this boring scene to get to the part that I really want to write, and this stuff's important. It has to be put in. Um, to just get fucking through it. So short-term goals. Short-term goals. Make the short-term goals shorter. Make the short-term goals shorter. Make the short-term goals as short as an instruction manual. I need to take this part off. I need to put this part on. I need to screw this in. I need to screw that in and then take it from there. Accomplished. Each screw is an accomplishment.
Do you think that's what helps keep us motivated and ambitious?
I think that it is a great start for somebody who is not motivated or ambitious. Um, I think when it comes to keeping somebody motivated and ambitious, it comes with accomplishing short-term and long-term goals. I mean, short-term and long-term and medium-term goals.
Okay. Would you say motivation, energy, drive, and passion are part of your daily life?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And some days and sometimes I don't want to do anything but study. But even, in days where I'm, say, quote unquote, not doing anything, I'm studying. So yeah, I guess I don't ever really quit, and my brain is hyperactive first thing in the morning, and yeah, I wake up with thoughts ready to go.
Okay. So being motivated and ambitious, it's part of the life that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you find yourself more and more motivated every day?
I wouldn't say more and more. I just, you know, I'm just
Okay.
me. I'm just me. I'm kind of just the way I am.
Okay.
I don't think it can get, really any more motivated. I have my schedules and routines, and I make sure that if I'm focusing more on, say, intellectual side of things, not to neglect the physical, focusing more on physical, not to neglect the intellectual, stuff like that. Stuff like that. Keep the mind, body, and spirit sharp. Keeping the spirit sharp is pretty easy. That's just, try to maintain a positive attitude, and accept things not going the right way, and then work around to still accomplish the goal, and know that any small defeat is not sign of a major defeat, or that the goal will not be accomplished. It's just a sign that okay, it has to be gone about a different way.
Okay.
Testing, you know testing stuff,
Yeah.
waters and levels,
Well.
seeing what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about the part, because we were talking kind of about doing business earlier. Tell me about the part about being convincing without being deceitful.
Being honest, having a good porthos, ethos, and logos, the trinity of rhetoric. Have a reason for somebody to listen to you. Have
Mm-hmm.
educated information on the topic, and have information on the topic from people that are credited.
So, with
Give
that in mind, it's the overall idea. The question is, do you love making a sale?
I've never really sold anything in my life, actually. Um,
Convincing people is kind of the same thing as what I'm getting at. When you
yeah,
change
yeah,
some.
I enjoy debate and all that stuff, and yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
enjoy broadening
Um,
perspectives.
all right. Well, I'm kind of trying to find more questions I haven't asked you yet.
I think that's pretty good for now. We can call it.
We got a gang of shit here. This is three and a half, over almost 3 hours and 40 minutes here.
Hell yeah.
And we just talked about success and leadership and goals and achieving those goals. And we basically went over like every book, but with our own style that we call the Hungry Horse. Right, which is kind of what I wanted to do, because we're both from there. It's how we know each other. This is what put us together to begin with. So we're kind of picking up where we left off. It's not about the school and the stuff with the kids. It's about the tapes, and it's about success, and it's about reaching those goals and taking on, enjoying, and being excited about those leadership roles. You get it?
Yeah.
So I think you and I are on the same page with it and everything. That's why we're able to go lengthy amounts for each session that we're going to talk about this stuff. It's just that I think that we reached the important common ground that we need when we call it the Hungry Horse.
That's your thing.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is universal information here that doesn't get old if somebody finds it, especially if it's somebody that